involved in it. But we just appreciate everybody that gets involved and gives back to baseball.
Well, it's a wonderful thing, and we were really happy we had a chance to talk to you about it, and good luck with it. And we're going to give the people a chance to assist if they want to by putting up the website for you. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Gary. Thank you.
And there it is, Diamond Dreams, the nonprofit organization in memory of his brother at Diamond Dreams 29. Go to diamonddreams.org.
Yeah, I saw his brother play in the major leagues. I actually went into Colombia a week after that to do some kind of appearance. So it was a horrible story, but you learn from it. And of course, Scott talks about it, and why wouldn't you? And he's done a very nice job. Lucky to have him in our organization.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our BGE Home game time temperature as we get set for this one. 84 degrees. BGE Home, Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? The O's starting lineup presented by Southwest. Book your low fare right now at Southwest.com. For the Orioles, continuing shift in left field. Machado, Power, and Jones. Davis, Wieters, and Scope. Paredes, Hardy, and Reimold gets the start in left. Chris on the big hot streak.
And the Orioles get to face Taijuan Walker. They faced him in Baltimore, beat him in Baltimore, even though the Mariners, Miguel Gonzalez pitched against him that night. The Mariners hit a couple of home runs, but he's a totally different pitcher. You can see right there, that's important. 75% fastball. He throws 94 to 97. He's got a breaking ball. He's got a changeup, but Rick Waits, the pitching coach up here, has impressed. I learned early in my career how important the fastball is. So the Orioles, we know, a pretty good fastball hitting team. Get ready.
Here we go. The delivery is swung out and missed. Looking for that fastball, Manny Machado.
Yeah, you can get away with mistakes if you have movement, which he has, and you throw in the mid-90s.
And the pitch will be outside. Control has been the problem for Walker. We'll see how the Orioles approach him. He's gotten much better at not walking people of late as the season's gone along. That one's a strike in the outside corner. Manny's got a 7-game hit streak coming into this ball game. One of the hot hitters in the Orioles lineup, having a sensational first half of the month of August. During the streak, Manny has gone 13 for 32. That's a .406 average with a home run, 2 RBIs, and 4 runs scored in the last 7 games. 2-2 delivery to him, and protects fouling it away.
Yeah, so what? That's 6 pitches now, and they're all fastballs. And fastball command is and the more you throw, for me and a lot of guys that I pitch with, it makes it a little bit easier to command it. There's a changeup.
That's the one he's been working on, Joe.
At 90.
Yeah, wow. Not a great differential on that pitch, at least that time.
And it's kind of like a split changeup, so it's like a split-fingered fastball. So it's, as we see, 5, 6, 7 miles per hour slower, has maybe a little movement.
And there it is. And gets the strike.
Yeah, so when you're throwing 95 and the hitter's late on it, it's all right to throw something off speed, but you need to do exactly what he did. And that ball just kind of nosedived. But again, Manny thinks he's got it tracked, and then the ball, the splitter, goes down, and this one did. Swings right over it.
He strikes out a lot of people. That's 127 strikeouts in 129 innings. He is 8th in the American League in strikeouts per 9 innings. Power 0 for 4 in the opener in the ball game last night. He'll be followed by Adam Jones. The Orioles 3-1 against Seattle on the year. This road trip now 4 wins and 3 losses. The Orioles entered the day 4.5 games behind the Yankees in the division. Toronto's in second place, and in the wild card race, the Orioles start 2 games behind. The Yankees are playing in extra innings, and Toronto has already won their ball game, so they've now won 9 in a row. We'll update you on those a little later.
Yeah, Tampa Bay won, beat Atlanta 2-0.
2-0 delivery, a strike on the inside corner.
Yeah, this is a totally different pitcher. You got to understand how young this kid is. He's only 22. He's the #1 draft choice of the Mariners, and he was the guy that, when we talked about the young pitchers, his name always came up. And there's another one. So
he's a fly ball pitcher. He has given up a lot of home runs, as you would expect. Fastball pitcher who gets outs in the air. He's 5th in most home runs surrendered, 21 on the year. 2-2 delivery on the way. That one's going to be blooped right field. Long run Cruz. Diving, will not get it. Good backup by Jackson. Parra takes the turn, goes in with a head first slide, and he's got a double. Nelson Cruz, who plays deep and right, long way to go.
Yeah, take a look at their defense, and again, Smith, Jackson, Cruz. Jackson can go get him. The rest of the guys are hitters. Seager, good fielder. Miller, Cano, Gold Glover, Morrison, one error all year, and then Mike Zunino playing because of his defensive prowess. But that's a ball again. If you really look at it, you played it into a double. See if the Orioles can take it. I mean, just a soft little blooper. You try to catch it by doing that, it gets by you, and Orioles have a runner in scoring position.
Last night the Orioles had a 1-for-4 with runners in scoring position. Neither team had a lot of chances in the ball game last night. The Orioles came away with a 3-2 win. Adam Jones 2-for-4 in the ball game with a homer and an RBI. He gets the chance here. Adam will bloop that one towards second base. Tag put on for the out. So Parra had started to third. Cano saw that and went right at him.
Yeah, heads up play, great pitch, jammed him, broke the bat, hit softly. Geraldo takes a step, and then he realized, oh, wait a minute, he may catch this in the air. Meanwhile, he's trying to go back. And then Robinson Cano with a very, very heads up good play, easy tag. So all of a sudden that runner in scoring position no longer exists.
So the Orioles will have Jones on at first base on the fielder's choice. And here is Chris Davis with that hot bat. 8-game hit streak, 2-for-4 last night, a home run. He had 2 RBIs in the ball game. And will take the pitch for a strike. This is a sizzling bat.
Yeah. Well, there are the numbers in the bottom of your screen. I mean, the 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. And again, 11 home runs in the last 19 games.
0-1 delivery to him. Fastball that will be up high. This is the mano a mano at bat right here. Got a flamethrower on the mound, and you've got a fastball hitter for distance at the plate.
Yeah, the guys that give Chris trouble are the ones that can run the ball up on his fist, and we'll see if his command's good enough to do that.
Runner off first, way up high out of the strike zone.
Because again, when you get out over the plate, so the guys that give him trouble, they run it in, and then they go underneath the strike zone soft. We're soft away. But out over the plate, we've seen him hit high. We've seen him hit low. He's got an uppercut swing. So maybe pretty much belt high or below is the danger zone.
2-1 delivery with a shift on. Before the All-Star break, Chris was homering every 16.2 at bats. Since the break, it's 1 for every 7.8. He hasn't cut it in half, but pretty close to it. He's getting home runs at a very quick pace. 3-1 delivery on the way, and that one back, and that'll bring the runner back to first base. Adam Jones.
Give you an idea, when he hit 53, it was I think a home run about 11.03 at bats. And that, over the course of one season, gives you 53 of them. But as we said in the open, typical year when he's healthy, and he wasn't last year, is somewhere between 33 and 53.
3-2 runner going 2 down. He takes it and he's on. So a walk surrendered right there. And there's a nice move by Zunino, the catcher. He started running down to third base. And the reason for that is they had the shift on. And Adam Jones is chugging down to second, taking a look. If nobody moves over to cover third, and Seager, the third baseman, was way over in the shortstop hole, there's a chance he could run over to third base and nobody would be there. You see Adam going down, he's looking over to third, and you see the catcher coming out and starts down the third baseline.
Yeah, well, that's why he's playing. Lloyd McClendon, as a manager, when the hitting averaged well under 200, said that's a work in progress, but he can catch.
So now the Orioles got another shot at it here in the first inning. 2 on. There are 2 down. Matt Wieters. Matt's got a 5-game hit streak coming into the ball game. See the numbers with a 2-for-3 last night, so he is up his average. And Nino will go out to talk to the youngster. Walker is going to celebrate his 23rd birthday on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't think that was being wild. I think it was almost like a pitch around. Davis is so hot early inning. I mean, there is a risk involved. If Matt Wieters gets a big hit, but who do you want to pitch to? And he has chosen Matt Wieters. Not that that's a bargain either.
Matt waiting on it. 2:33 with runners in scoring position for Matt. Hey, you see the numbers he's put up with the bases empty. Great number. Runners get on. It changes dramatically to 323, and then he gets a little better with the runners in scoring position at 255. So clearly not as effective out of the stretch as he is in the windup, which isn't much of a windup.
Well, it's kind of like a Chris Tillman windup. We're going to see two guys, you know, Walker's 22, Chris is 27. And again, he's 6'4", Tillman's 6'5", so we're trying to be able to repeat it. And what do? They tend to make it a little bit more simple.
The stretch and windup look very much alike. Pitch on the way to Wieters, and that one is going to miss inside. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Corey Blazer, our home plate umpire tonight. If follows the norm of his career, pitchers will have the benefit of the doubt on strike calls tonight. So they'll have a chance to work the corners. 2-2. And that one grounded to the hole where they weren't playing. Backhand's got to go to first. It could be an infield hit. It is. Miller wanted to go to second base, but he was not going to have a play there against Chris Davis. Cano wasn't there, and then it was too late to go to first.
Yeah, and he had to go way to his right. Again, you put the shift on. I mean, here's shiftitis, and it gets you. So, again, trying to go there. But, again, what's your secondary lead? And Chris Davis gets one. He's a big guy. He runs down very quickly, and all of a sudden, as we said, if you pitch around Davis, and sometimes it can catch up with you.
There, we talk so much about that secondary lead. Why does it matter? Because on plays like that, as Jim said, you may get a base you would not otherwise have had. Jonathan Schoop, bases are loaded, 2 down. So immediately we get a big moment in the game right here in the first inning. Jonathan had the 0 for last night. You see, he has had 1 grand slam this year. That is his hit with the bases loaded. He is 1 for 3 with the sacks full this season. And he goes after a heater up high.
Yeah, he's really has to. You know, last night he's been red hot. He's got chased some breaking balls. You know, he's hit a lot of fastballs, but the fastball around the letters is the one he has trouble with, especially when it's in the 95-mile-per-hour range. So just try to, at least early in the count, bring it down just a shade.
Pitch on the way, foul back into the screen, one to hit right there, and didn't quite get it.
And I made my living there, and people, you know, the late Jim Spencer, I'd see him on Monday, go, I'm not swinging at that Tuesday, I'm laying off it Wednesday. He'd chase it. And what it is, it looks good to hit. But if you have movement and it's just kind of in no man's land, where right between the belt and the letters, it's a tough pitch to get on top of.
It's the 28th pitch of the inning right here. Breaking ball, good block made. Zunino.
Yeah, first of the inning. He's thrown the splitter, but again they go to it, and you know he kind of threw it where you wanted to when you hadn't thrown any, and he didn't hang it.
Big chance for the Orioles. Get to the 22-year-old early in the ball game. 2-2 count. Bases loaded. 2 down. Schoop will take the pitch. It's away, so it's full. 8-3-2 first inning count, sacks full.
Now what do you think? I mean, the way he's pitched here in the first, and this will be pitch number 30, is it could be a splitter or a fastball. Those are both of the pitches he's used very effectively.
I'm thinking fastball.
You'd think.
Go with his best.
Number 1.
3-2, and that will be fouled off. Getting deep into foul territory. Adam Jones to make sure he wasn't going to get clocked by that. And the numbers for him.
Well, Jonathan's been, this is 123rd time, and he's walked 4 times. So again, a young hitter, you know, came into this year with under 500 major league at bats. So he's a very aggressive guy and not prone to take unless you really throw it out of the zone.
Schoop ready on another 3-2. Runners go. Base hit into left field. Jones will score. Davis coming. Throw to the plate. A hop not in time. And Jonathan Schoop delivers 2 RBIs here in the first with the bases loaded to put the Orioles up.
So he finally gets a fastball down, and you know, again, Walker, he's trying to get him out. Look at this, it's down. I mean, it's thigh high, middle of the plate. Look at the secondary lead by Chris Davis. You could already see him in your picture. And here comes Rick Waits, the former left-handed major league pitcher, their pitching coach. So again, Schoop finally worked to where Walker couldn't go to his weakness. Had to throw him a strike.
Jonathan comes through again for the Orioles. He's done well picking up RBIs. Schoop's now got 22 in 39 games. And the Orioles, who did not treat Walker well in his start at Camden Yards this year, the Orioles knocked him out in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 4 runs on 7 hits in that ball game. He did take a non-decision in the ball game that was won by the Orioles. This is just his second career start against the O's.
Yeah, Miguel Gonzalez gave up a couple of home runs, so the game was a little bit in doubt. But again, you got him where you want to, in a sense. Now let's see if Jimmy Paredes, who's been chasing everything, gets a strike to hit here.
Paredes back in the DH role. Bullpen already active for the M's, and the pitch will be taken for a strike. So Paredes in and out of the lineup. Matt Wieters catching. Matt's doing some DHing. So Buck Showalter again. No two lineups are the same, it seems, even if the personnel are. Where they're playing varies. Breaking ball towards first. Nobody covering. Walker comes and gets it. Good play and a good lead by Cano to record the out. But the Orioles are going to get a couple of first inning runs. They'll do it on 3 hits, leave 2 on, and jump out to the 2-0 lead. Will be an Oriole Hawaiian shirt, and right next to that shirt will be a floppy hat and a young. There you go. That's it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you pointing that out. And a young fan who is keeping score. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for joining us and for that fashion statement. Magnificent. The Mariners will have Jackson, Singer, and Cruz, Cano, Smith, and Trumbo, Morrison, Miller, and Zunino. Robinson, Cano against Tillman. Yikes.
Well, again, yeah, and Cruz right before him is only 1 for 9, but with a home run. So pick your poison. A lot of fastballs, curveballs, and little cutter sliders, and then change-ups. Very important part for Chris Tillman. ERA, when he was 2-7, it was a little bit under 6 runs a game. Again, another just like Walker fly ball pitcher, but only 10 home runs.
And we'll get a strike in. Jackson, the leadoff batter, Austin Jackson, 0 for 4 in the ball game last night. 247 on the year with some power. In the top of the lineup. He'll go on the third base. Manny Machado perfectly positioned, almost even with the bag.
Yeah, take a look at the Oriole defense. The fewest amount of errors in baseball. Dodgers only close, 43 of them. Raimo, Jones, Parra. Jones and Parra Gold Glovers. Machado the Platinum Glove. Hardy Gold Glove. Scope, Davis, and then Wieters with a couple of Gold Gloves catching tonight here in Safeco Field. An immense ballpark.
And while they don't talk about it here a whole lot, the players off record will say some of the reasons why there are better averages and home run numbers away is because this ballpark, they press in.
Yeah.
They try too hard because the park seems so big. And it is. Pitch will be up high. Seager a 1 for 4. It's one of the reasons they are 24-33 at home and 500 on the road. It's a long way out there. Beautiful ballpark, but it's tough on hitters. And that pitch will be taken for a strike.
Yeah, such a contrast. Of course, I'm old enough to have played actually in a minor league park for 1 year, and then they went to the Kingdome, which was a bandbox and on turf, indoors, home run haven. You know, great offensive park.
1-1 breaking ball. That's a good one. Well, here are the numbers for this ballpark. Remember, you got half of these numbers weighted by the home team that's not hitting well. 7th in homers, 6th lowest average, 5th fewest runs, and the 5th lowest ERA.
That's out of 15 teams. And
pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, when you talk to Edgar Martinez, one of the great hitters, you know, arguably could be a Hall of Famer at some point, 318 lifetime average. I said, what's your approach as a hitting instructor? Came on in early June. He said, well, you got to use the middle of the field.
2-2 delivery popped up down the line. Reimold the long run. Nolan diving, look out into the side of the stands, but the ball was further away. He did not have a play on it. Yeah, should note on Reimold, he was way over there towards center, so boy, he was coming full steam here.
And again, you know it's padded, but we, you know, ever since the Mookie Betts attempt on the Abreu home run up in Boston, if you run and you actually hit that railing, you go flip it.
Yeah. So not a good idea.
Safer way of playing it.
2-ball, 2-strike count, 1 down. I was going to say about Tillman. Chris Tillman has not lost a ball game in 10 starts. He is 6-0-4. 6 wins, no losses, and 4 no decisions. The last time he lost a game was May 31 against Tampa Bay. That is a big run. Down to third. Hello. Not only do I hit, I field Chris Davis.
Well, and that's one of the reasons. You know, he throws a 3-2 changeup. You know, you can't throw it for the corner because you may walk him. So again, he just throws it. Seager hits it hard, and what happens? What it usually happens when you put the ball in contact for the Orioles, they catch it.
Take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers as Cruz comes up.
There you go. So we know, I mean, McCutchen, former MVP, Schwarber now, of course, you know, with Starlin Castro having one of those off years, playing shortstop, and then Chris Davis and Donaldson and select numbers.
And Chris Tillman working against him. He is 1 for 9 with the home run, as Jim said, against Tillman. 20-game hit streak, longest hit streak, longest consecutive on base streak going right now in the majors. That'll be in the outside corner for a strike. Chris Tillman's got the big numbers against this ball club. 6-0 lifetime, 2-0 here in Seattle. 1-1 delivery on the way. That ball put up in the air to center field. Jones going back. Jones back at the wall. Adam up. Goodbye. A 21-game hit streak. 2-1.
Well, we talked about Chris Davis just hitting a line drive that carried about 420. That's a hanging curveball. Very, very hittable pitch. But to his credit, he just flies out over the center field wall. Tremendous strength. Check out the swing. Foot gets down and then he launches it. You think it's off the bat. Oh, not routine, but you think, boy, dead center. I got to hit it a long way. Very much like Adam Jones trying to get there and just doesn't have long enough arms to snare it before it brings the Mariners within 1.
So he's now the American League home run leader, 34. Pitch taken all the way as Cano walked down to the batter's box. For Cruz, 34 puts him ahead of Trout by 1. It is his 70th RBI. He is now 7th in the league in that department. His 140th league leading hit. Tillman's delivery to him. Cano will take that one up high. Cano, as we showed you, 414 lifetime average against Chris Tillman. Obviously the biggest number you're going to have in this lineup against the Orioles starter. Cano will take it. Tillman appears to want nothing to do with him. 3-0.
Yeah, again, it probably wants to do it on his terms. You just kind of wonder, 11 days off between starts because of the ankle.
.30 count. He'll take all the way. It's in there. The last outing he had was this year against Seattle, and it was a game where he had to come out of it after a 2-hour-plus rain delay and ended up being non-decision. He'd given up only a run in 1 hit, 1 run in 3 innings in that ball game. 3-1 pitch on the way. Cano will foul it back to take it full.
Now you look at Robinson's numbers, and you know, it's hard to envision, even though this is the second year in Seattle, what, a 10-year, $240 million deal, so you can understand. Howie certainly put his signature on that, but as a Yankee, that's a pitch that he probably would have driven. Here it just doesn't seem he's the same hitter, and I don't know why. Again, maybe it's, you look at the park, it's not Yankee Stadium, it's not hitter friendly. Yankee Stadium, one of the best. I just don't know. It's not that he can't hit, because he can.
He has 265 here and 261 on the road. So
yeah, that is Edgar Martinez. He's talking to Mark Trumbo, and he says constantly got to communicate.
3-2 delivery, that hit Tillman. It's a base hit. More importantly, is Tillman all right? But Showalter immediately turns to the training staff, says get out there.
Yeah,
Brian Abel's on his way out.
Yeah, don't really know. I mean, again, you just can't defend yourself. You end up so close. He's kind of looking at the diamond vision to. So everybody's coming out. Yeah.
Skipper, pitching coach.
Well, yeah, you're going to see right here. So again, you got to throw a strike. 3-2 bullet. And it looks like it gets the right kind of lat. And boy, when you get hit there, or maybe the hand, or maybe I just thought he got hit behind the right shoulder. Maybe they're just kind of. You certainly, you talk about it all the time, and I never got hit in that area, but it's not going to get any better. So let's see right here. Boom. Yep, probably right. Yeah, the lat, maybe right behind the.
So he'll try and throw a couple here and see what that feels like. Come off an ankle that got twisted coming off the mound.
And I believe it was the left ankle, so that's the landing one. We put all the force.
Says he's all right for the moment.
Well, you just don't want him to favor it. Obviously, we go back. Go back when I was a kid. I heard about Dizzy Dean got hurt his foot, that hurt his arm. Go back, Jim Lombard, Cy Young with the Red Sox went skiing, hurt his knee. Mark Fidrich, and you can go down the list of guys' favor injuries. So I'm sure they'll monitor it.
So Tillman will stay on. Cano gets a base hit. The rebound, it hit Tillman so hard it ended up going into shallow center field on the ricochet. So with 2 down, Cano on, and that will bring Seth Smith to the plate. Smith did not play in the ball game last night. He's hit only 158 over the last 15 ball games. He brings a 1 for 5 in against Tillman.
Yeah, better hitter against lefties, but more power. 8 of the home runs, and 9 of them with a .250 batting average against right-handers. And we've seen him. And so I'm with Oakland. He can hit home runs, right center, left center. He can get on some pitches.
1-0 delivery is going to be taken for a strike on the inside corner. This lineup, number of lefties. He's going to face left-handers in let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 9. Even though right-handers have a better batting average and have hit 8 of the 10 home runs off him. 1 ball, 1 strikeout. Cano short lead at first base, and that one will be fouled right straight back.
Yeah, good changeup. I think it's because when you're right-handed and you have a fastball, curveball, changeup repertoire, pitch counts high for both Walker and Tillman now here in the first. First thing you see is the glove. You're not throwing off the hitter, and if you can make your pitches. And again, he's got the 12-6 curveball.
Seth Smith 1 and 2. Cano on at first, a run in, and he will go after that one and foul it the other way. Smith has been a liability some sense defensively, but getting playing time on a ball club that has played pretty well. They're 4th in defensive effectiveness in the American League, to the Orioles being number 1. They have played a lot of tight ball games, more 1- and 2-run games than any other team. And that pitch will be taken up and in, which is one of the reasons they point to their bullpen as having been a problem this year. For Lloyd McClendon in tight ball games, if your pen's not effective, you're going to lose.
Well, you go from having one of the more porous bullpens from the best, and that's what they had last year.
2 ball, 2 strike count. And we'll go back to the bat.
I mean, your closer, Fernando Rodney is not even closing. 48 saves last year.
And he's not really the setup guy either.
No, even though Rick Waite said he's pitched pretty well in that category or in that position.
2 ball, 2 strike count. And that's going to be outside. So laboring after getting the first 2 outs, homered by Cruz, and then hit on that hard shot back to him by Cano.
Yeah.
Showalter watching.
So if you're wondering if 12 or 11 days off, 12 days between starts to affect your command, I think we're seeing it here. And he's a command guy, even though the velocity is good with the fastball here in the first inning.
3-2, runner goes, ground ball, base hit. Cano turns the Jets on, but stops with Parra's arm. They saw Parra's arm last night on a throw to third. They're not going to risk it out there. Smith's got a single.
Yeah, so again, you find yourself, we saw it with Cano, he went 3-2. Smith 3-2. You got to throw strikes. That was a changeup. Again, not a horrible pitch, but you just can't throw it for the corners or you end up walking people. You got to get ahead. You got to stay ahead.
So runners on at first and second base. There are 2 down. A very elusive third out. A 2-1 ball game. Each team with 3 hits. And here's Mark Trumbo, the DH. 0-for-2 in the ball game last night. Trumbo will take the breaking ball outside for a ball. So a chance to get the ball game tied up or better right here. Trumbo has an 0-for-2 against Tillman, as well as the 0-for-2 he had in the game last night. 1-0 delivery on the way, and oh my lord, way back in left field, and goodbye home run. A 3-run shot for Trumbo in the second homer in the first inning off Tillman.
No, they got him for exactly what he just did. 32, 34, 29 home runs when he was with the Angels. And again, just hangs a cutter. Maybe a curveball, something in between. 87. And Mark Trumbo into the launch mode. Much better hitter once he acclimated himself. Over 300, 4 home runs now. Went over the last 30 games.
So big offensive innings for both of these ball clubs. A 4-2 lead for Seattle, and we are not yet out of the first. And this coming, all of it coming, after there were 2 outs in the inning. Pitch will be taken up high. Walker threw 33 pitches in the first inning, the starter for Seattle. Tillman is going to throw at least 31 here in the first inning for the Orioles. Logan Morrison did not play in the ball game last night. 1-1 delivery to him, and that's going to be outside, and the count will go to 2-1. Tillman has not given up more than 2 home runs in a ball game this year. He had given up 2 previous occasions, once to each time to Toronto actually. Now he's given up 2 here in the first inning. 2-1 delivery, a ground ball into the shift. Jonathan Scope will have to charge. He does, and makes the play on Morrison. But 4 runs scored on 2 home runs off Tillman here in the first inning, and the M's take a 4-2 lead. $500 for being selected, $500 more for every Orioles home run hit in our game. Play baseball bucks, scratch offs went up to $50,000. Or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Go to ndlottery.com/baseball. Well, that was quite the first inning. 4 runs, 4 hits for Seattle, 2 runs, 3 hits for the Orioles.
I think Taijuan Walker saying, well, at least I didn't get hit that hard. Yeah, he kept it in the park. And he really didn't again.
So you can settle it down on the mound. Here is Hardy, 0 for 3 in the ball game last night. JJ at .235 on the year, puts that one down the line in right field. Cruz a long run, and out of the reach of the first baseman Morrison.
Yeah, Nelson's not going to get there because, as you mentioned, he plays kind of deep, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's, you know, for most outfielders, it's easier to come in. Of course, when you do, you don't want to dive for singles, which you did in the first inning. But if you play deeper, usually keep the ball in front of you. It takes away extra base hits.
Tough ballpark for JJ over the years. He's only hit 195 here at Safeco Field. That ball down the line. Cruz again will get his exercise, and again there will be no play.
Yeah, he's going. This is not like hitting home runs where I actually get to trot around the bases. A couple of. And then Logan Morrison, no chance on that. There you go.
He's taking a little bit from the fans out there in right field, good naturedly.
Well, you know, when the first pitcher has to go cover first, the catcher always goes out, or they're going to have to do that with Nelson.
Those are 2 pretty good sprints. And the pitch will be taken for a ball. JJ Hardy, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Reimold up next, and then back to the top of the order already. Walker looks to work pretty quickly. That ball to center is hit hard. Jackson back. Austin Jackson gets there. Don't miss the season's 6 fireworks night Friday. The Orioles come home, take on the A's after the ball game. A beautiful post-game fireworks display presented by Baltimore area credit unions. Tickets are going fast, so get yours at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Hardy out of there. Nolan Reimold up. Reimold making his 17th start for the Orioles in left field, and he will take the pitch for a strike. Did not appear in the ball game last night. Reimold this month only 10 at bats, 2 for 10 in the month of August. Buck Showalter continues to switch guys who are out there in left field in the starting role. Lake has been out there in left field. David Lowe's had an opportunity in left field. Power has played left, and Davis has made a start in right.
Yeah, and then you put Flaherty at first, but he's 0 for 30. So
Snyder gone. Swing and a miss. Play's got to be made. Zunino will. 2 down.
And then, of course, when Nolan does play, drops the first pitch over, first breaking ball for a strike, and then strikes him out on another one.
2 Ks in the ball game for him.
Yeah, I think one of those things is, you know, the good news for Nolan, he's healthy. The bad news is he's not getting regular at bats, and I don't care who you are, very few players come off the bench and feel comfortable. You know, see the ball, you know, unless you're a, you know, more of a veteran player that's done it before, or even a National League guy that gets to pinch hit 2-3 times a week.
Manny Machado will take a pitch that is in there for a strike. You're seeing first pitch strikes coming from Walker. We're talking about how he's reduced his walks, throwing more strikes. He had 23 batters walked through the first 9 games and only 11 over the last 13. And that one out in front of it, way up in the air, down the line. Playable. Smith over, and no, it will be in the seats. Playable by a fan now. Pretty good catch.
Well, just kind of text Garrett Richards of the Angels and see about the hanging curveball and ask him what happened when he hung one down in Anaheim. So he gets away with that pitch.
Machado, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Manny, big numbers against the Seattle team, and there's another base hit. So it's going to be an 8-game hit streak for Machado as he picks up the 2-out single, and Manny is now hit in 18 of the 19 games that he's played against the Mariners in his career. He came in with a big .346 batting average against Seattle with 2 home runs, a couple of stolen bases, 10 runs scored, and he continues it here, getting on with another base hit. Parra delivered a double his first time up. Took it to right field. First time up against Walker in that at bat. Taijuan Walker taking a look over. Machado pretty good lead, and it's in there for a strike.
Now you got to understand how not only young at 22 but inexperienced Taijuan Walker is. He had a #1 draft choice. Shoulder impingement early last year, so he pitched a couple of games. One game at A-ball, one at AA, and then the rest at AAA Tacoma.
Breaking ball tied him up, and it's a strike.
So again, you read all the stuff. They're talking he's about 20, 30 innings from maybe shutting him down. Just didn't get to pitch as much as he would have liked last year. He missed 2 months with that shoulder problem.
Parra in his 10th game with the Orioles, with the O's, hitting .211, a homer and RBI, 1 double. Walker steps off. Manny Machado will walk off the lead, held by Logan Morrison at first. 0-2 delivery on the way. Parra will go to short. Miller will take it to first. No runs, no errors, and 1 left on base. Miller Zunino in the top of the order coming up for Seattle. League manager break down the best major leaguers in a number of categories. Here are categories where the Orioles finished in the top 3. Manny Machado second, most exciting, behind Trout. Best reliever, Zach Britton, second behind Wayne Davis of KC. Best defensive, Manny Machado #1. Best D at short, J.J. Hardy. Infield arm, best, Manny Machado. Best defensive outfielder, Adam Jones third. And the best manager, Buck Showalter, ahead of Terry Francona and Paul Molitor, as voted by the managers.
Yes, well, they got it pretty much right.
Those are managers. There's the guys who see it every day up close. Here is Brad Miller. A couple of the other categories. The best hitter was Miguel Cabrera. Best power, Mike Trout. The best strike zone judgment, Jose Bautista.
Well, the on base percentage usually incredible. And here's a guy that even years where he hit 35, 40, 54 home runs would walk over 100 times. And when he didn't, he was airing it out.
Pretty interesting when it comes from that source. Miller with a 2-0 count. Tillman's delivery will be taken down the line left field. Reimold going over. Reimold diving, can't get it out of the glove. Going on to second base will be Miller. He'll make the turn and stop. Reimold recovers and gets it in. And almost, but not quite. It's a double.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, Doug Ferret, used to say, made the run and had no fun. Great effort. He gets there, and right here, just in and out of the glove. And real good speed for Nolan, tracks it down, and just in the webbing. Because you got to understand the ball when it's hit off a left-hander's bat, is slicing away from you. So possibly the movement of the ball is the difference between going in the web and not.
So that's 5 hits off Tillman. Miller, who had an 0 for 7 against Tillman coming in, picks up 1. Now Zunino with nobody out. Zunino will take it. He's not had a hit in his last 22 at bats, including an 0 for 3 in the ball game last night. So that's dropped the average down to 170. M's 1 for 1, runners in scoring position in the ball game right now. 0-1 delivery on the way. Zunino will take it. It'll be inside for a ball.
Yeah, one of those guys, if you're on your game, you're looking to strike out. 119 strikeouts, the low 170 average, and only 318 at bats. You know what he wants to do. If you're hitting 170, you better hit a ball to the right side here.
Better get that runner moved up.
At least, or make an attempt till you get to 2 strikes.
1-1 deliveries on the outside corner for a strike. Chris, like most of the Orioles, has been very good with runners in scoring position. Opponents hitting only .228 against him. Orioles have had the best numbers as a staff in that department all season long. 1-2. Top of the order waiting on Doug Jackson. And that one's going to be foul back, so Tillman will get ahead of him. A ball and 2 strikes.
You got to understand, though, let's go back to the first inning. Hung a curveball to Cruz, home run. Hung a slider to Trumbo, 3-run home run. So you're going, okay, second inning. I know what he wants to do. Need to strike him out. What pitch do I have the most confidence in?
Find out right here. 1-2 delivery and a heater, and he got him. Foul tipped into the mid.
Either that or a little cut fastball, so he gets it to the outside of the plate. And again, this is exactly what you want to do. Strike out 120. Right on the outside corner, and Zunino just doesn't cover it.
So Zunino's gone. 1 down. Now Austin Jackson. Jackson grounded out his first time up, the center fielder. Getting his first look at Chris Tillman in this ball game. Right-hander's delivery will be in there for a strike. Said last night, this is where the M's have had all kinds of problems. They are last in the American League with runners in scoring position, hitting at .219. And they've had a lot of chances.
And that's come up like 15 points since Edgar took over.
Sliced one the other way and foul.
But just think about it. I'm not sure. I know it's Mike Zunino seems like a nice young man, very good catcher. But can you afford to carry a guy when you're not scoring runs that's only hitting 170? That's just a tough carry.
Do you have an option?
No, I don't know that. Yeah, right. You know that's been a personnel problem here. Former #1 draft choice.
That has been a real problem for them. How many years now? It seems like 4 or 5 years where that catcher position has kind of been up for grabs.
It'd be kind of like in the old days, teams I played on, we were good enough offensively. If you had Mark Belanger winning a Gold Glove, put him out there. But you had 8 other guys that could hit, and that's not the case here because there runs, as you mentioned, offense down.
1-2 delivery on the way inside again, foul back. Battles that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. And a 1-ball 2-strike count on Austin Jackson. Jackson, .257 against the Orioles in his career. Some of those games with the Tigers. Now here in Seattle, patrolling center, looking for his first hit against the Orioles this season. 1-2 delivery on the way, and again, kind of on his tiptoes up to go get it, and a 1-ball 2-strike count.
Yeah, Chris has had good velocity. Got hurt on the breaking balls in the first inning. And if you weren't with us, again, 12 days between starts because of the ankle sprain, landing ankle, the left one. Kind of important last 7 weeks for Austin Jackson because he's a free agent.
Yep. Delivery on the way to him, and again foul back. Jackson, a .274 lifetime hitter, not this year. His average .246 as he stands in right now, coming over from the Tigers where he was touted as a long-term solution to center, and Seattle hoped that was going to be the case here. Now they've got decisions to make when the season's over on that. 7th pitch of this at bat. Runner off second, 1-2 delivery. Jackson did what he was trying to do. Runner's going to hold at third. Powers got the arm. Misses the cutoff man, but strong enough to come on the fly to Wieters. Jackson tried 3 times by picking up his back foot to drive the ball to right field because the Orioles were playing him the other way, and he did.
Yeah, and finally got a pitch that he could handle. I mean, this one down. You know, the ones that were up and away, and then again, I mean, it's about a 280 approach right there. It's kind of what Edgar Martinez was talking about. A longtime Mariner, now a hitting instructor, using the whole field.
So another chance for them. Runners on at first and third, only 1 away. That's 6 hits already in the ball game. Seager grounded out his first time up. Seager last year hit .301 with runners in scoring position for this ball club, and nowhere near that this season. He's 177. What a drop. And there's one of the big reasons why those numbers with runners in scoring position as a team are down.
Well, even Cano at 267 is low for the kind of hitter he is. I don't think you ever take Kyle Seager because of his ability to lightly if you're pitching against him. You know, you're always one pitch away from him driving a ball. Just missed a home run yesterday.
He's hitting 25 of the last 30 at a 295 clip. One of the many Mariners players whose offense has picked up over the last 3 weeks or month. Throw. Chris Davis has to go down to get that one.
Well, all you got to do is shoot their dugout. And when we pitched against Kansas City, I had Charlie Lau as a teammate, and then he went over to the Royals. If you looked at Charlie in their dugout, just like Edgar Martinez, somebody was always standing next to him talking to him. And you're going, oh no, let's give him advice.
1-1 is way inside. These bullpens sure look like they're going to have an active part in this ball game, the way the starters have already piled up pitchers. There's Edgar.
Well, you talked about it. He's talking to Robinson Cano, and you would think with the 5 left-handed hitters, the long man of choice would be T.J. McFarland.
2 ball, 1 strike count, first and third, 1 away, looking for the ground ball. Not going to get it in the air to center, not particularly deep, straight away. Jones has to back up a little. Miller will tag. Throw comes into second base. Side fly for Seager. Gets an RBI, and it's a 5-2 game.
Yeah, so that's what scoring runs is about. You know, you get the runner to third. He doesn't score because Parra can throw, and then you don't have to get a base hit. Routine fly ball with a runner at third, less than 2 outs. Which, if you're a pitcher, it's a nightmare. If you're a hitter, get the ball out of the infield in the air, and Seager does that.
Seager picks up his 45th run batted into the season. The skipper gets a little closer to his pitching coach. What do you think? Now a runner at first base. There are 2 down. And here's Cruz, who had a home run. First time up, league leading 34th against the Orioles. Now he's got 2 home runs and 4 RBIs this season. 7 hits and 15 at bats for Cruz against his former team. One-0 count. Tillman, knowing that Cruz has only 2 hits against him, and both of them have left the yard.
Yeah, a very similar swing to the one he had when he was with Texas. Rudy Jaramillo, his hitting instructor. Open stance. He'll close. That's open stance means your front foot's farther away from the plate. Toe down, little tap. Didn't get that. Well, he hit a curveball over the center field fence for the home run, and it's not that he can't hit the fastball, because we know that from watching him hit 40 of them last year, 40 home runs as an Oriole.
1 ball, 2 strike count. There are 2 away. Runner at first base. Foul back into the screen.
When the Orioles used to go to Texas, I always thought, if we look at Brian Mattis, he's going to get loose. And again, you know, PBA McFarland, maybe because he pitched 3 innings in Sunday in Anaheim, so Mattis will get up. But Cruz was a guy that scared me the most because of his ability to hit the home run to all parts of the park.
1 ball, 2 strike count, and he'll foul that one back. He's extended his on base streak to 24, along with the 21 game hit streak. He's closing in or has exceeded career highs. His on base longest streak 25 games when he was with Texas 2010 for on base consecutive games. 1-2 count from Tillman. Short lead at first base. Jackson, and a throttle back and got him. So Tillman will get the strikeout, his second, but a run in. Miller the leadoff double, sac fly Seager. 5-2 Seattle. The Orioles center fielder.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, they're kind of very consistent numbers. I think the one thing you see this year, home runs, it looks like that at least the pace is down. It may end up, again, if Matt gets hot, strikeouts down dramatically. Walks pretty much the same. Hitting better with runners and 2 outs. Chris Tillman talking to Dave Walsh, so it looks like he's going to stay around. The other thing, I mean, Adams hit like 230 with 2 strikes, so cutting the swing down.
And he will lead it off. He scored, reaching on a fielder's choice in the first inning. Jonathan Scope had a bases loaded 2 RBI base hit that put the Orioles on top, but not for long. Taijuan Walker delivers. It is a strike to Adam. Adam with a hit and 4 at bats in the times he has faced Walker. The left-handers 240, right-handers 260. Scorched foul.
Into the throng. I'm not sure you really expect from a right-hander a ball hit that far pulled. A splitter that he was way out in front of.
Which is a great sign for the pitcher. No matter how hard you hit that ball, if you hit it that much foul, you've got the hitter's swing off balance.
Yeah. It's all about timing, and you're trying to somehow change that.
1-2 strike count. Adam on a cut on a pitch in the dirt. And that will be strikeout number 3 for Walker.
I was reading an article today. Alex Wood, who pitched for Atlanta and pitched very well against the Orioles. We take a look at this curveball. He was talking about getting traded to the Dodgers and then watching Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke pitch. And again, he talked about, Alex Wood did, about how important, and I guess one of the things that Clayton Kershaw, who has led the National League in ERA the last 3 years, talked about was strike one. And it allows you to get ahead of hitters. They expand the strike zone. You get into situations where if you get to 2 strikes, you can do exactly what Taijuan Walker did. You don't have to throw a strike.
He didn't, and he got one. Chris Davis threw the walk, the only walk surrendered, and scored. Chris with the 8-game hit streak will foul that one back. During the month of August, as you might expect, Chris tied for 3rd in home runs and 1st in RBIs this month. He's got 5 home runs so far in August, hitting .313 coming into the game. 0-2 delivery on the way, and he got him. So Walker will get the strikeout. He's got 4, 2 in a row.
Yeah, Corey Blazer, sometimes this has been a strike, and Paul, definitely. You can. All you got to do is watch Zunino drag it back into the zone. Watch the glove come down. Tells me he thought it was high, but the only guy that mattered didn't. That's the home plate umpire.
So Walker, after a quick inning. Wieters had a base hit his first time up, and Matt will take the pitch for a strike as he put that one down low. Oh, 1 count, 2 away. Goes after it to center field. Not going to carry very far. Jackson right there. And he will put it away. And he gets his clean inning. We'll go to the bottom half of the third, middle game of the 3-game set. Seattle on top. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare at southwest.com and by your local Mazda dealers. Real summer day. Temperatures in the upper 80s here in the Seattle area today. Areas to and fro. There's Wei Chen. Before we leave his start last night, worthy of noting, he has now allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in all 10 of his road starts this year. He's 3-2 in those ball games, again working without much support. He has improved his record against the Western teams to 15-5 in 27 career starts, and the Orioles are now 14-8 in the starts he's made this year, even though they score few runs for him.
Yeah, right, and again, potential free agent, and a lot of people say, where do you think he's going to end up? 15-5 against the American League West.
That's like the guy who hits 400 in this ballpark and 250 in every other one. And this team wants him desperately. A 1-0 count, Robinson Cano. Cano leading it off. A base hit, run scored first inning. Yet upping his average again against Tillman with that 414 he entered with. 3 of the top 10 hitters average wise against the Orioles are on this Seattle team right now. Cruz, Franklin Gutierrez, who's not in the game, and Cano. That's going to go to left field, and there's another one. Well, a leadoff base hit here in the 3rd inning. And it's now time to tweet the strongest fan photo you've got. Use O's Couch Cam, and you might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Yeah, and we showed you. I just thought that was Pete Carroll for a second. They've started. Talking about the Seahawks, but I think Buck Showalter and Dave Wallace saying, okay, how long are we going to let Tillman go? He hadn't pitched in 12 days, but what's kind of thwarting the game plan, so to speak, is the leadoff base runners. Double last inning, and now the single by Cano.
70% last year for Tillman. Leadoff batters this year 58%. And the pitch taken for a strike. Smith a base hit and a run scored. His first time up. So this Mariners team now with 5 runs on 7 hits already. The Orioles 2-4. And Cano on at first base.
Yeah, a lot of pitches ending up in the middle of the plate, and that's not where you want to be for Chris Tillman tonight.
0-1 delivery is going to come inside to Smith. turns him around a little bit. And this Mariners ball club, they've got bats that on paper can get things done, but as we always say.
Well, they're averaging 4.2 runs since Edgar Martinez came over, and that was June 6th. So offense much better.
Swing and a miss, got one there that he just could not connect with, 1 and 2.
And that's only what, 0.2 of a run less than what the Orioles have averaged home and away for the year. Of course, the Orioles close to 5 runs at home and a little bit under 4 when they play away.
Mariners have the worst batting average in the American League. They are next to last in runs scored per game. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Runner off first base, 1 to drive, and fouled it right straight back. Smith now with a couple of hits and 6 at bats lifetime off the Orioles starter Chris Tillman. Chris comes in with a 53 win, 38 loss mark in his career. As Jim said, only 27 years old. Dave Wallace on the bullpen phone. They had the left-hander Brian Mattis up earlier in the ball game. 1-2 delivery. You would believe Zach Britton is not available to pitch in tonight's game. May not need him anyway, but coming in for the save in an inning and 2/3 and a tough one, so he's probably out of there. You don't want to use Garcia, and I don't mean that negatively, but he's just, as far as Buck Showalter is concerned, he's not ready to come into ball games
that you have a chance to win. Yeah. I mean, that's.
But he's out there, so he's taking up the spot. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that one will be fouled back.
Well, it's just, I understand why you would like to have him, but it's very difficult. I mean, this isn't, this isn't T.J. McFarland, a Rule 5 guy that, came off 16 wins, AA, AAA. It's not even Ryan Flaherty who can play so many positions. This is a guy that's on a team that's trying to vie for a wild card that doesn't have enough experience to pitch up here. He's got a great arm, and we saw a lot of that the other night.
Reed wraps that one. He had to go upstairs, but he found it with a barrel. So Smith's out with a base hit, and you got to believe that's probably about it. Tillman with 2 on here in the 3rd inning, and nobody out. Trumbo and then Morrison will be coming up. A lot of discussion between the manager and the pitching coach. This Saturday, the first 20,000 fans 15 and over get the J.J. Hardy orange replica jersey. The A's are in town, 7:05. You can add to your Birdland wardrobe with this detailed replica of the O's popular alternate jersey. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a matter of, we look at Brian Mattis, second time he's been up tonight in the Oriole bullpen. But Dave Wallace comes out, and you know what Chris is trying to do. They're looking for balls they can pull. Or hit the other way, especially with a runner on. Smith gets it. So again, middleitis, that's a disease that us pitchers used to get when you don't have your best command. Could it be 12 days? Could it be the line drive off the pitching, or at least the back of the pitching shoulder? You just don't know. But he's not sharp, and he has been, before he rolled the ankle, about as sharp as anybody. Going 6-0 with a incredibly low ERA.
So he'll get at least one more batter. Trumbo, a home run, a 3-run homer in the 1st inning. Nobody out and 2 on, and the pitch will be taken outside for a ball.
Yeah, there you go. And then, of course, just a slider that stayed in the middle of the plate. And you looked at this guy. I don't think ever take. If you look at Mark Trumbo's track record, he's been hitting, as we mentioned, better in the last 30 games. But he's a power guy. They signed him exactly, or traded for him exactly what he did.
And he was going for another one.
Yeah.
He has 14 home runs total on the season for Trumbo. 9 of those coming in the National League. 5 of them now since joining this ball club. 1st and 2nd. Here's an inning, 3rd inning, where Seattle's got a chance to really open the barn doors. 1-1 delivery on the way and a breaking ball off speed, but inside to him. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Now Chris Tillman laboring, first time in a long time, as Jim said.
Yeah. This will be the 80th pitch, and
that's to record 6 outs.
Yeah. well, one of those nights. And again, you know, a lot of times it's who you make the mistakes to. You know, hanging curveball to Cruz, now leads the American League. Hanging slider to a guy that hits that pitch out.
2-1 delivery on the way, and Trumbo on 1 down and away cannot get to it. So Tillman, a good pitch and a 2-ball 2-strike count on Trumbo with Logan Morrison waiting on deck.
Well, the one thing about Mark Trumbo, I mean, he can hit home runs, but he can strike out. And if you're Chris Tillman, he's one of my favorite guys. Is that doesn't like to fail, and this is a strikeout guy, and he's going to try to do that.
Trumbo, a little breaking ball. Play is going to be at first. It will get the out. It will move the runners up. Cano goes to third and Smith down to second. So it's an effective at bat if you're talking about it from the beginning of the at bat.
Well, it also kind of typifies, you know, when you make a mistake, they hit it, home run to Cruz, home run to Trumbo, and then you throw them a great curveball, and they still advance the runners.
So that will be it for Chris Tillman. He will work only 2 1/3 innings in this ball game, and that's going to be the short outing of the year for the Oriole right-hander.
Sleepless in Seattle. The numbers, a lot more fastballs. Did not pitching in 12 days affect them? I think the answer is right there in front of us. So again, it's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for your regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. So lefty versus lefty. Brian Mattis comes in, again dominating lefties. Did give up the hit to David Murphy the other day, but a lot of fastballs, sliders, curveballs. That's the breaking ball, and then the changeups, and then, you know, much better against lefties. We're going to see those numbers. The record 1-2, and again, base on balls a little bit, in fact, a lot high for what you'd like. And again, righties hit him close to 300, lefties in the 140s.
Well, this is interesting. This is a new battery for the Orioles. Caleb Joseph has come on to catch, and Matt Wieters is out. They just made the announcement, and he is not in the dugout. So we'll get an update on why Matt Wieters is out of the ball.
Well, the only thing is he did make the play,
yes,
the throw to first base. So you hope it's not arm related.
Yeah.
Caleb, who caught last night, did a great job with weighing chin. Well, and then he will not pinch hit. 104 at bats for Logan Morrison, and his average in the 180s.
Now the Orioles are going to try and cut the run down. The unusual alignment here is that you've got the shift on with the infield in, which you don't see very often. Morrison grounded out his first time up. Cano's the lead runner. Smith on at second. Brian Mattis's pitch will be taken down low for a ball. For Mattis, this is going to be his third appearance this year against Seattle. He's worked 2 previous innings, 2 runs on 4 hits against the Mariners.
Well, you got back-to-back lefties, and again, if you're going to strike Morrison out, you got to get ahead.
And that one he bears by him, keeping it inside. So a tough task right here with 2 in scoring position and only 1 away. Morrison 0 for 3. Lifetime off Brian Mattis.
Well, if you're going to have a chance to win this game, and this game is not only tonight but a game of matchups, you've got the advantageous one. Mattis against Logan Morrison.
1-1 delivery and a swing and a miss and a real good pitch down low. So Brian Mattis called on after the short outing by Tillman. Miller waiting on deck, and there is Tillman, who will stay and watch here for at least this half inning. He's responsible for the 2 base runners, Cano and Smith, who both had singles.
And so it's about power. If you're going to throw him a slider, just throw it off the plate.
1-2 delivery and a good pitch to get him. Now Matt Wieters out of the ball game, and it was just for this batter. Buck Showalter, watch him here. He takes a look at Wieters, and you see Matt wincing.
Kind of like pointed at his leg.
Yeah, and Buck Showalter looked over to the dugout and said, we need another catcher. This is the play that he made on Trumbo, the last batter up before Matt came out.
Well, you see him grimace on the throw, so you don't know if it's leg or arm, and it's only conjecture. We'll find out what it is. Hopefully it's nothing with the elbow. Coming off Tommy John surgery, so we've always asked who that third catcher is. Hope we don't find out.
Flaherty's his name. 0-1 count. Brad Miller. Miller, second base. They backed up. Play will be made at first, and that will get him out of the inning. So a good job by Brian Mattis coming on as they leave 2 in scoring position. 5-2 Mariners. History. How about 1940? Stan Musial, the Stan Musial, injured his left shoulder making a catch that would end his pitching career. He went on to become a full-time outfielder and, of course, a member of the Hall of Fame. And in 2010, 8-2 victory over Milwaukee at Miller Park. The Diamondbacks, only the 7th team to have 4 consecutive home runs in an inning. Adam LaRoche, Miguel Montero, Mark Reynolds, and Stephen Drew hit him. Well, Buck Showalter's had to change the battery up for the Orioles. Now the O's offense needs to find a way. Plenty of time left in this ball game. 5-8-0 for the Mariners, 2-4-0 for the Orioles. Jonathan Scope, the 2 RBIs, base hit in the first inning, and he'll lift that one to right. Cruz going back. Couple of pitches. Scope retired. On Sunday, when the O's take on the A's, the first 7,500 fans 14 and under get the Chris Tillman Growth poster presented by Topps. See how your child measures up to the O's 6'5" hurdle. The life-size poster, great for the kids. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Jimmy Paredes.
Yeah, actually bounced a curveball. Thought he had a base hit, and out of nowhere, Cano to make the play.
Here's Paredes up. A right hamstring strain on Wieters. Strain.
And that's all you need if you're a catcher.
Yep. Foul back into position.
And you just never know. I mean, the hamstring's one of the bigger muscles in your body, so there's different degrees of the sprain.
And you generally don't know till the next day or the next day. 0-2 count on Paredes and a swing and a pitch away. That's 5 strikeouts for Walker.
Well, you get to strike one, and then you have an aggressive young hitter, and that's what Jimmy Paredes is. And all of a sudden, you get to this count. Take a look at our Nissan pitch track. Oh, there's a splitter. Starts on the corner. He gets anxious. I mean, that's the way you pitch, even if you're 22.
Taijuan Walker, we said, a strikeout pitcher, and he's doing that in this game. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. 2 down, nobody on. Hardy, the Orioles shortstop, flying out to center field. His first time up. Breaking ball is going to miss inside. It's the team the Orioles have done very well against over the last few seasons. 18-8 since 2012 against Seattle. They've had a 10-4 run over that time here at Safeco Field.
Yeah, a lot of times, and of course, this year they're playing them in May, and now they're playing them in August. Does Felix pitch in those 3 games? That has a lot. He's got, what, 13 wins, I think?
Pitched the day before the Orioles arrived, much to their delight.
James Paxton, big, tall lefty, lat pull. He's gone. So, again, sometimes timing, and then, of course, the Orioles have played well. Good combination.
And that ball is going to be foul back.
But you really have to like Taijuan Walker. I mean, Rick Waits is an old school guy. Threw pretty well as a left-handed pitcher. Very much like the Orioles, teaches the fastballs number 1. And this kid's got a good one.
2-2 delivery on the way. Pulled the bat in a little bit as the pitch was in. Smith in left field is under it. And will make the catch. 7 in a row retired by Walker. 1-2-3 for the Orioles, who trail Seattle 5-2.
Well, we saw Tyler Wilson get a spot start up in Oakland, and the Orioles got him a lot of runs. Didn't have overpowering stuff, but commanded the ball well. We've seen Oliver Drake come up, great splitter. Went back down to AAA Norfolk and he's the best reliever, working on his fastball command. And then anybody that's seen Dario Alvarez throw, that they know, fabulous throwing arm and having a good year of the bat.
So Brian Mattis will start this inning after coming on to get the 2 outs. We were talking about pitchers being missed by the Orioles. They're going to miss Sonny Gray too. He's not in the rotation 4 games, and Gray's not scheduled to pitch against the Orioles when the O's come home take on Oakland.
Can we miss Chris Bassett too?
No.
No.
Zunino. You got to have. You only got 5.
I
You're playing
understand.
4 games. So come on, help me out here.
Can't he have the sniffles or something like that? Maybe a head cold.
Nah.
Yeah, headache, migraine. No, I don't want to put that on him. But
No.
something, nothing significant other than he can't pitch.
1-1. He could not hold up on that. Tried to, and went around. Mike Zunino, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Top of the order, Jackson. Seager to follow. 5-2 Seattle lead. We're in the bottom half of the 4th inning. 1-2 delivery on the way and a strike call.
Yep, bottom of the zone. He doesn't think so. Yeah, 5-2. He's not going to whine too much because he knows his guy's got a 3-run lead. He thinks it's low. And again, when you're hitting 170, and I'm not going to belabor that, but when you're not hitting where you want, you don't really have a good idea of the strike zone. I don't know of any 170, 200 hitter that's ever told me, well, I'm seeing the ball real well, because you don't, and you're anxious. And like you said, there's a reason. Maybe they don't have anybody else. And the other thing is he's a very, very good defensive catcher. He leads all catchers in most games at 103.
Here's Austin Jackson. Leadoff batter's got a base hit. 1 for 2. 1 hit. 6 at bats. First 2 games of this series. Brian Mattis delivers to him, and the pitch will be inside. The Orioles road trip will wrap up tomorrow here with a day game. Kevin Gausman. Iwakuma will be on the other side. And we'll see.
Young and old.
Yeah. 3 o'clock goes extra. 3:34 the ball game on Masson, and we'll see whether or not the Orioles are vying for a really good road trip or one that'll keep them above 500. 2-ball, 1 strike count. 1 down, bases empty, lifted foul.
Well, as we always talk, at least I always talk about out here, we already see. Let's see, the White Sox beat the Angels. So again, Minnesota, they won. They're in the wild card hunt. Toronto won. They're trying to chase and catch the Yankees. Yankees are tied 4-4 in, I don't know, 14th inning or 15th inning. It's hard to.
2-2 and a swing and a miss. That's a great pitch right there. That's 3 strikeouts.
And meanwhile, Brian Mattis has somehow summoned Clayton Kershaw. Came in and got 2 big outs last inning, and there's the curveball. Brian Mattis, when he was a starter, he could pitch into righties and he could throw the changeup away, so he could get you looking to cover the outside corner and then break your bat with the best of them.
Brian has not pitched since the game against the Angels. 3rd of an inning on the 9th. A couple days ago. 2 down, nobody on. Pitch will miss outside. He's worked as many as 3 innings this season in relief for the Orioles, and they may ask that and perhaps a little more if he's effective here in this ball game.
Well, they definitely got the fast gun here in Seattle, because we haven't seen Brian Mattis throw 94 since maybe 2010. So maybe it's jacked up a little bit. Doesn't really matter as long as you make your pitches. There's the glove, hit it.
1-0 delivery, swung on and missed, and a nice 85 mile an hour off speed.
Even a changeup.
Shift on, Scope back out there in shallow right field. And Mattis has come on to throw strikes. 1-1. Cruz, the on deck batter. 1-1 delivery on the way to him, and again at 85 mile an hour pitch.
And remember, Seager is again those reverse splits, more power against righties, but higher average against the left-handed pitchers. There it is. These are pretty nice numbers, though. 6 of the 16 home runs. Almost hit one off away in Chen last night.
3 for 8. Now 3 for 9 against Mattis, and Brian Mattis strikes the side out, retiring the side 1-2-3. Orioles down 5-2.
The Orioles, 2-run single by Jonathan Scope. Orioles lead it 2-0. And then the hanging curveball, Cruz, home run number 34. Adam Jones can't run it down. 2-1, 34th league leading. And then the 3-run home run, the one that dagger to the heart. As it makes it 4-2. They would add another run. Chris Tillman struggled. 12 days off. Those are your Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Nolan Reimold leading it off. Goes after that first pitch. Reimold, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Walker with only one walk, and he has struck out 5 in the ballgame. First inning, 2 runs, 3 hits. Since then, he has settled it in, given up only 1 hit since, and has retired 7 in a row. That one up in the air. A lot of hang time for it. Cruz will put it away. Reimold's 0 for 2 in the ballgame. Get in on the baseball action with Masson. Text the word Orioles 29292 for team alerts and chances to win exclusive prizes all season long, including meet and greets with your favorite players. Again, that's Orioles 29292 for O's alerts you can't miss. John Russell, bench coach, and the manager going over, you can imagine, all kinds of things here for this game and for tomorrow. 1 down, nobody on. Manny Machado, a base hit, 1 for 2. 8-game hit streak for Manny. He continues to be up among the leaders in a number of offensive categories, leading the Orioles in hits and runs scored.
Well, you can see why Taijuan Walker is on one of those rolls. 7 wins in his last 9 decisions.
In the air to right at Cruz.
And they're just not. I mean, this is the way you pitch with a good fastball. You throw it until they hit it. They haven't hit it. I mean, only the Scope base hit in the first. And again, what set it up was a soft single, and then, of course, Scope got a pitch to hit. But since then, not a lot of hittable pitches.
He's taking care of business in a hurry after throwing all those pitches. 33 in the first inning. Here is Parra, 2 down, nobody on, a double. And he is grounded out. 2 down, bases are empty. Parra will take the off-speed delivery, and that's going to be in there for a strike from Walker. Yeah. Walker, after his 12th major league win, he's 11-10, 8-7 this year. Away for a ball.
Won 5 in a row from the 10th of June all the way into the 1st of July. And got him back on track.
And he wants another baseball. He is obviously one of their expected rotation members for next year, which is why, as we mentioned earlier, they're watching the innings pitched. 2-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be taken down low. 3-ball, 1-strike count.
There's Rick Waits, veteran lefty that's come on. That's the pitching coach for the Mariners.
3-1 delivery to him, and a strike at the knees.
Thinking about Gerardo Parra. He knows how to hit. He knows how to pull the ball. Obviously, his average would be a little bit higher. Loves it. Be a little bit higher like he did in the National League, but
swing and a miss again.
Splitter gets it.
6 strikeouts, another 1-2-3 inning, 10 in a row, set down by Walker, protecting that 5-2 lead. given. Take a look at these numbers. Last 30 days, Cardinals, Jays, and Mets have had the best ERAs. The Cardinals blowing everybody away. Their rotation is 2.77. If they keep it, it'll be the lowest ERA for starting rotation in 30 years. They're on pace to allow the fewest runs by any rotation ever in a 162-game season. The pace is 3.38. And if you look, you add their bullpen in, the Cardinals' ERA is 2.6, which would be the lowest overall ERA for a team since Bob Gibson's '68 Cardinals had that 2.49. Foul back.
Of course, Gibson in that year, and Bob had the 1.12 earned run average. I still think he lost like 9 games that year.
That's hard to do.
It really is. And of course, the next year they lowered the mound from 12 inches to 10, give the hitters an advantage. McLean won 30 games.
Nelson Cruz shattered back. That'll go to center field and be hauled in by Adam Jones after he hit a home run his first time up. Orioles' upcoming schedule brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit the men's store or online at mile1.com.
Yeah, you know, you got the Mariners tomorrow, so obviously if they don't win tonight, which and they're still very much in this game, you want Oakland to come in. You hope they get knocked around up in Toronto, have to use their bullpen, all that kind of stuff, and then take care of business. But you know, they have pretty good pitching. Do the A's much better at home than on the road, especially the earned run average.
So the Orioles get back home after this 9-game 10-day trip after the ball game tomorrow. Robinson Cano, and he will take the pitch down low for a ball.
Yeah, you look at the Cardinals, they're what, in 11th in home runs, 8 in our offense, and as you mentioned, pitching 121 run difference, the most wins in Major League Baseball with 71.
Cardinals on their way to another division title, and Cano's on his way to another demolition of the Orioles pitchers. So he's 3 for 3 in the game, 3 singles with a run scored. He came in hitting .333 against the Orioles in his career, and he's not even 1 or 2 on this team in batting average against the Orioles. He's 3rd behind Nelson Cruz and Franklin Gutierrez. So another base hit, runner on, 5th inning. First hit off Brian Mattis. Smith coming up. He's had 2 singles in the ball game. Seth Smith's getting the start in left field.
No, he was a guy, and again, we talked about the Orioles have been looking for outfielders not only all season, but also in the offseason. He was a guy that was at least talked around, maybe possibly come from San Diego to the Orioles. Michael Gibbons getting loose through last night in the 9th inning.
280 off left-handers, 250 off right-handers for Seth Smith. And he showed bunt. He's got that whole third base line open as the Orioles have the shift on with Manny Machado, the only defender on the left side. 9 hits in the ball game for Seattle. Trumbo on deck. Cano only a couple of steps off first base looking at Mattis. Again, he showed bunt. Will take the pitch away, and the count goes to 2-0. Mariners jumping out early with that big 4-hit first inning, 2 homers in the inning, Cruz and Trumbo. And then Tillman going only 2 1/3, 5 runs, 8 hits against the Orioles starter.
Now Gibbons is up because Brian Mattis usually doesn't pitch this long, and very effective.
2-0, showed bunt again. He's just taking, and the count goes to 3-0. So Smith not biting on anything.
Yeah, if you're Lloyd McClendon, you give him the green light. You never know.
Cano lead at first base, not going. 3-0 deliveries on the inside corner for a strike, and he took it all the way. So 3-ball, 1 strike count. The Orioles have gone through this win-lose, win-lose, win-lose over the last couple of weeks, unable to get even a 2-game win streak together. trying to undo that tonight. 3-1 first base, and that will be foul. Big chopper. Take the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the offense a little bit better, but again, it looks like inconsistent starting pitching. This is what we're talking about. Following a win, 0-4 record. There's your ERA. And then following a loss, they pitch better. Just can't sync it up. And of course, you're 111 games into the season, not what you want.
They keep going 3 games over to 2 games over. 3-2 delivery. Runner stays. Ball in the air. Left field. Raimo back. Has a line on this one. And will make the catch. That will send Cano back to first base. On Wednesday, August 19, all fans at the evening 7:05 Mets game are going to get the Manny Machado Jonathan Scope Handshake Orioles t-shirt. These great young stars have that signature on-field greeting. That'll be in the t-shirt. You can get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. So Brian Mattis comes on and gets the job done for the Orioles. He'll be responsible for the base runner on.
League because of what he did at Double-A Bowie. Again, incredibly low numbers, 93 to 95, deceptive arm angle, sweeping slider. And not a lot of innings here. Had to go back down because of Jason Garcia, the Rule 5 pitcher, having to be called back to the big leagues or you lose him. And then, of course, Chaz Rowe hurts his arm, bursitis, and Michael comes back. But, for a young pitcher, great command and pretty good stuff.
So Givens on to work against Mark Trumbo. Runner on at first base, 2 down. Trumbo, the big home run first inning, 14th of the year overall. Grounded out his next time up. He may have done double damage, 1 on an out, 1 on a hit. The home run, he got 3 RBIs, and that little grounder in the 3rd was the one where Matt Wieters made a play, and then Wieters came out of the ball game. 1-0 count. And the sweeping pitch is going to miss outside, 2-0.
Yeah, so welcome to the big leagues. You get back 2-0. Trumbo's going to look fastball. If you hang a slider, that'll speed the bat up. So it's about making quality pitches. Looks like a fastball, maybe outside corner. Orioles looking for outs.
2-0 delivery, and that's going to miss up high and away. So the count goes to 3-0 on Trumbo. Logan Morrison is the on deck batter. There is Cano, got a 1-out single, still over there at first base. 3-0 pitch by Givens, and he walked him on 4 straight. That's the first walk given by the 3 Oriole pitchers. 2 on, 2 down. Cano moves down into scoring position. Morrison has struck out and grounded out. And again, a chance to add to the lead. They've had a couple of opportunities to do that in the ball game. They're 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
So again, all 12 home runs by Logan Morrison against righties.
And that's going to be a strike.
Yeah, there's a good breaking ball out back door, started just off the corner, and then the other pitch that I had not seen was the changeup. And apparently, when Matt Wieters was going through the injury recovery from the Tommy John, got the catch Givens.
1 ball, 1 strike count. This is inside to him. Givens certainly somebody Buck Showalter likes the look of. The organization does. They really hope he's going to come on and be a real part of this staff for the future. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Givens gets it in, foul back.
Well, he has good movement. It looks like at least until that walk, which is the first of his career, he's had good command. But I mean, for the Orioles, we'd like to see this. But again, if you watch Major League Baseball, most of your young pitchers throw between 92 and 96. The ones that have success get the breaking ball over and they pitch out of the middle of the plate.
First and second occupied with 2 down. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and that one was in. Kind of golfs that one foul down the line. He had a 1.75 ERA at Bowie in the 35 times out. There he had 16 walks, 79 strikeouts in 57 in the 3rd innings. Really high strikeout ratio. Still not a run off him in the 3 previous appearances with the Orioles. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Givens delivery took something off that one. 87. It'll get fouled away and hold the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Brian Mattis ended up going 2 1/3, gave up 1 hit, no walks, struck out 4. So far no runs. He is responsible for Cano on at second base. Hardy's moved almost behind the bag, shortening that lead at second. 1-2 pitch on the way down the line, foul. Mariners battling here to try and add another run. 4 in the first and 1 in the second. Michael Givens 1-2. A look back at Cano. Long hold. Real long hold, and that's why the timeout was given at the plate to Logan Morrison. Froze him a little too long that time. And down to first, fair ball. Nice play again by Davis. And he'll go to the bag to record the out. No runs on 1 hit, no errors. 2 are left on base. It remains a 5-2 Seattle lead. by PNC for the achiever in you. And by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Elliott Bay. 5-2 lead. And Buck Showalter, a comment. Ron Johnson, AAA manager, has tied second place for the Tide's all-time managerial win list. He's just too shy of Gary Allison's all-time win list. And Buck said,
But RJ getting ready to be the all-time leading manager, that's pretty cool. We're lucky to have him. I didn't realize he'd been managing for 22 years in the minor leagues. 22 years. He's as good as I've ever been around down there. He's pretty special. We're lucky to have him.
that's a long time.
No, it is. And I told him, I said, I only knew him as first base coach for the Red Sox.
Yep.
And then he came back to the Orioles, and they've had a great year. Yeah. Pitching's been outstanding.
Ron Johnson's been the manager at Norfolk since 2012. But as Buck said, 22nd season in the minors. That's a lot of bus rides.
Well, we've seen, we've seen Tyler Wilson come up and pitch well for the Orioles out of their staff. Richie Bancells with the Glass, the Oriole trainer, talking to Buck. We've seen Oliver Drake come up. He's struck out 57 in 36 innings, 19 hits, 0.75 ERA. How about Steve Johnson? 4-1. They have a lot of guys that maybe
1-2 inside and up
could help you, and I don't know if they'll get here before September.
September call-ups coming. First of the month. When you're in the race, Buck Showalter doesn't like to do the numbers thing. He wants people that'll help. 2-2 delivery on the way, and a ground ball goes to short. Miller makes the play. Jones retired, so he's 0 for 3. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to the March of Dimes. 269 walks, $13,450. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Walker has gone the distance as the starter. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He's given up the 2 runs on 4 hits. Orioles have not had a base runner since the Manny Machado single in the 2nd inning. Chris Davis up. Davis has been called out on strikes, drew a walk, scored. 2 RBI bases loaded double by Jonathan Scope in the 1st.
I mean, plenty of time. You alluded to it earlier. You're only in the 6th inning. There's Taijuan Walker. He's established the fastball. He's now doing his Pat Dobson, one of the 20-game winners in '71. A lot of fastballs early, finesse them in the middle, and then they had no idea what was coming.
That's going to be in the gap the other way from the way the defense was playing. Jackson goes over to get it and will hold Chris to a base hit. So that's a 9-game hit streak now for Chris Davis. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Maryland, my Maryland. Hit number 5 for the Orioles. Matt Wieters has one of them, a base hit. He's out of there. Caleb Joseph has taken his place, and for Caleb, this will be his first at bat.
Are there any red eyes from Norfolk for Steve Clevenger?
Not this way.
Okay, maybe it'll be a red eye. You can't get here by game time, can you?
Be really
well, you
tough.
actually could. Because you do save, I'm not sure out of Norfolk, but
3 hours.
Yeah. So you get to see 3 hours, and
12:30 ball game local time. 1-0 count. Joseph will foul that one back.
There's
strain of the hammy has taken Wieters out of the ball game. That's the last update we had. We'll ask Buck about it after, but probably they won't know any more than that.
It'll be one of those day-to-day for a while, and then they take the MRI. They see the severity of the hamstring strain.
Pitch on the way, fouled off, breaking ball. Caleb Joseph with a runner on at first base, 0 for 3 in the first game of this series, but his numbers continue to sparkle for the Orioles. There's Ryan Flaherty, who is the number 3 emergency catcher for the Orioles. 1-2, 1 down. Joseph held back on a breaking ball. More injuries today. Saw around Major League Baseball. Bryce Harper was scratched, left knee. Apparently just for a game, they hope. Cole Hamels scratched groin. They hope not for very long. Good news, Miguel Cabrera is due back this week for the Detroit Tigers. 1-2 pitch, and that will miss away.
You could see how Zunino, he talk about framing pitches. He really goes down and presents it to the home plate umpire tonight. That happens to be Corey Blazer. He has those little soft hands to bring it back towards the zone.
2-ball, 2-strike count with one away. Caleb waiting on it and fouls that one back. Bud Norris is signed with San Diego, so we wish him well.
Well, we really do. And it's a nice park to pitch in. Pitching in a national park, it's immense, huge,
gigantic, Grand Canyon-esque. 2-2 delivery on the way, and again Joseph able to fight it off. So Caleb battling here for Joseph in the month of August. He's gone 8 for 19 with 3 home runs. That's a .421 batting average so far in the month of August. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Breaking ball popped him up. First base. Logan Morrison. 2 down. As promised earlier in the game, we selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Some Oriole fans at Camden Yards and some Oriole fans at Safeco Field. Not much to cheer about since the top half of the first inning.
Yeah, and this young man drove in 2 runs, Jonathan Scope.
Breaking ball up high. Pitch number 98. Taijuan Walker, the 22-year-old, having himself a night. 11 in a row retired before the base hit by Chris Davis. Swing and a miss came in on him. 2 RBI, bases loaded single. Scope in the first. He put a fly ball out to right, and how effective has Walker been? Well, it's the midway point of the ball game, 6th inning, and this is only going to be the 3rd time around.
Well, Mike Zunino and Taijuan Walker have done a great job of adjusting. Again, he had to throw. That's, as you see, pitch 100. The ball was down in the middle of the plate that he singled into left, and since then hasn't thrown anything in that territory.
And the breaking ball hit the 3rd. Big hop. Seager. He'll go to second base. Force out to Cano. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Quite a job by the youngster against the youngster. Doug Melvin stepping down, Brewers GM. They want someone younger and analytic minded to replace him, according to Yahoo Sports. The official announcement was made today. Doug apparently is going to stay with the ball club at least for the rest of the year in an advisory capacity and maybe beyond that.
Young and analytically minded.
Bring us a sabermetrician.
Well, they're all over.
Brad Miller. Miller a double, and he has grounded out.
Speaking of sabermetricians,
yes.
You think they decided to make Givens a pitcher? Or you might have think maybe it was a baseball guy.
Probably a baseball guy.
I think you need a
guessing
combination. I mean, I really think you got to be conscious of all the numbers. And there's such a fine balancing act. I'm a Libra, of course, so I'm always balancing things right. But you know what I'm saying. You know where I'm going.
Yes, I know. I fully agree with you. That ball will be into left field, and it'll be a base hit. So 2 for 3, and Miller gets a leadoff single.
Yeah. Brad said, I'm just going to hit it like Cano. I'm not going to hit the pitcher and behind the pitching arm like he did to Tillman. I'm just going to go the other way. I'm going to hit it soft enough, but hard enough to get it over the head of the shortstop and not where the left fielder could catch it. That's not a bad way to hit.
You can hit like Cano.
That's right, yeah. Now, your deal, your 10-year deal for $240 million, now I'll take half of that.
Yes. So the double digits are on the board in hits. That's 10. Here's the Nino bunting. Ooh, that caught the home plate umpire, Corey Blazer.
Yeah, they ricochet. And again, he just dropped the barrel, and boy, right up. And I'm not sure if it got. Did it get the shoulder of Caleb Joseph? No, square in the mask.
Concussion check.
You see Corey Blazer saying I'm all right, but they're going to make sure that he's all right. I mean, this is about as square as you can hit it right off the top of the bat.
His reaction tells you how much that one hurt. So Corey Blazer will go back behind the plate, takes a look at his mask. Billy Goat strap and everything on that one, the cage mask with the hang down.
Just checking to make sure it is 0-1.
Mike Zunino, runner on at first base, nobody out. Machado's way in at third base. Zunino with a couple of strikeouts, 0 for his last 24. Evans will throw over, trying to catch him going the other way. And the 0-1 shows the bunt, drops a good one. Evans will go to Jonathan Scope. That'll be a sacrifice. Miller moves down to second base. Now we want to remind you the Orioles are hosting a second social media night. It'll be Tuesday, August 18. The Mets will be in town. Q&A with those closers Zach Britton and Orioles.com writer Brittany Garola. Plus there'll be a game ticket, light fare, exclusive t-shirt tickets on sale for as low as $30. Space, however, is limited. So go to Orioles.com/Birdland Social and join in. Jackson, the leadoff batter, a base hit. 1 for 3 in the ball game. Runner at second base. Seattle 2 for 7. Runners in scoring position. Givens hits the inside corner with that one. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, Austin finally got a ball that he could slice into right field. Second time up. Gave up on that breaking ball because it started kind of at his back knee. There's another one.
That one's in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you constantly do that you'll get away with it, but I think hitters give up on it. They're looking for something away and just kind of freezes them.
Runner off second, good lead, and the fastball is going to miss outside.
And if that pitch, and again, this will be part of the experience factor with that kind of arm for Michael Gibbons. If that pitch is a strike, it's probably strike 3. But it's just far enough off the plate that Jackson takes it.
Looks at that one. So the count's going to go full. A 3-ball, 2-strike count. Runner on at second. A 5-2 Seattle lead. No runs for either team since the second inning. Pitch on the way by Gibbons, and he chased one way outside for the strikeout.
Yeah, that one close enough that he waves at it. So again, maybe the 2 breaking balls he threw for a strike set it up. And of course, he can't believe he chased it. Look how far it's on the chalk line. Left-handed hitters batter's box.
So 2 down. Chance to hold that runner out there. Kyle Seager, RBI, sac fly, 0 for 2 in the ball game, 1 for 6 in the series so far. He will take that for a strike. Seager has had 5 hits, 17 at bats against the Orioles this year. Got power with the 16 home runs, 45 RBIs, and just missed. Gibbons trying to go away. Williamson is in the bullpen.
And a big, tall, hard throwing righty.
One delivery on the way, and the pitch will be taken down low. We were talking about sabermetricians and where does all that analysis go. I thought Buck Showalter has a pretty good answer to that. He said, I use those numbers, all of those numbers, to back up what my eyes tell me. And I think that's pretty good. Tell you that your eyes are right or wrong. That'll go to short. Hardy is there, and he will put it away. So no runs on 1 hit, a base runner left on in scoring position. The Orioles Mazda do-ups, Paredes, Hardy, and Raimo.
The fastball early, maybe not as much as he has, and then curveball got better as the game went on. Good split fingered changeup. Again, gives up the 2 runs in the first inning. 101 pitches, a lot of strikes. Wilhelmsen comes in. I mean, hard thrower. One of those freak accidents. You can see, again, he's got a slider, he's got a curveball, throws 92 to 95, and then occasional changeup. But he was actually warming up in the bullpen, and Danny Farquhar actually hyperextended his elbow, so missed a month early on. And we talked about the woes and travails of their bullpen. That's how some of it started early. There are the numbers. Look at the lefties. Wilhelmsen, which is very, very high for him.
2,772 miles to see the O's win.
So
cheer them on then.
Yeah.
Need some offense. That's about 1 3-game stand for Seattle in mileage. The travelingest team in all of baseball, Seattle. Here's Jimmy Paredes. Paredes has grounded out and struck out. Wilhelmsen delivers to him. First pitch down the line, left field. Smith.
I think it actually might be.
It's not Smith.
Yeah, I think it's Brad Miller.
So Miller's gone out.
Yeah, and they put Marte in.
Moved to short.
Exactly. So they, lead. They put in some defense. Miller, of course, has played all the outfield positions.
So Paredes out of there. He's got an 0 for 3. J.J. Hardy coming up. Hardy's 0 for 2 and a couple of fly ball outs in the ball game. Orioles have stranded only 4 and only one of those in scoring position, and that's back in the first inning of the game. 6 have been left on Seattle.
So
4 of those left.
Smith moves over to right. So Cruz out of the game.
And the pitch is in there for a strike. 5-2 game. Cruz out in the 7th.
It's fine if you pitch well.
This bullpen?
And if you don't, well, we'll see, I guess. Yeah.
1-1. That's going to go to third. Hop. Seager's play is there in time. 2 down. Oriole bats just very quiet. There's Brad Brock. 2 away, nobody on. Wilhelmsen will face Reimold, who has struck out and flied out.
Yeah, never had a bat against Tom Wilhelmsen. In fact, you look at all the Oriole hitters, nobody with good numbers against him.
And the pitch will be taken for a strike. So it's up to the bullpen now. Preserve a 3-run differential. Seattle was behind 2-0 before they came to the plate, but once they came, they took care of it. Wilhelmsen will make the play. 7th inning stretch time here at Safeco in Seattle. Score remains the Mariners 5 and the Orioles 2. Second time this year they've won 9 straight. Bautista had a home run. Cleveland beat the Yankees in 16 5-4 and a Brantley RBI base hit. And Tampa Bay they will not go away. They shut out Atlanta 2-0. Ramirez, no runs, 4 hits over 7, no walks, 4 strikeouts. So at the moment, New York's lead over Toronto is now a half game. The Orioles right now are 4. If they don't win this game, it'll be 4.5. And there's Tampa Bay. And they're hanging around. And same is true in the wild card. Right now, Toronto, Los Angeles are the 2 wild card teams. The Orioles only a game and a half out. But Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Even Texas, struggling right now, are still well within reach.
So Brad Brock comes on. Boy, he's on one of these amazing runs. Outstanding the other day. Extra innings in Anaheim. Strikes out Trout there. Sogard waves at one up in Oakland. It really doesn't matter which uniform he's facing. He's been outstanding. Again, fastball, slider, and then the devastating changeup. You can see probably if you looked at his numbers, not that he doesn't have a good fastball, because he does, but that changeup is the biggest swing and miss pitch. And there are the numbers. ERA very low. And a lot of strikeouts, more than an inning.
So Ketel Marte takes over in the number 3 spot for Cruz. 0-2 quick count on him. Brock's delivery, and that didn't take long.
Well, they put him in for defense. We saw him hit right-handed last night. And actually got a couple of base hits. So right here, switch hitter. Mess around, 95 up the ladder. Just outside third of the plate.
So 1 away there in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Robinson Cano 3 for 3. They all have been singles, and he scored in the first inning. 24,863, 24863. The attendance on a beautiful summer evening with the roof open here at Safeco Field. And for Seattle fans, they have had the chances to cheer. Cano will fist that one the other way and out of play.
Yeah, everybody shifted over anyway, but if it bounced by the dugout. Well, good pitch, just bad result in the case nobody could get to it. Came into the season a .310 lifetime hitter. And hitting .300 the last 6 years of his career.
0-2 delivery on the way. With the 3 hits that Cano has had in the ballgame tonight, he is now second only to Alex Rodriguez in hits against the Orioles. He's got 219. Rodriguez has 274. Brad Brock with a 1-2. And he'll take that a little bit outside. Talking to Brock the other day, Brad did an interview for us, and I asked him, I said, we talk about ERA and the usual stuff, pitching numbers. What do you look at to see whether or not you're being effective? And he said, I want to know what my whip is. 2-2. Walks, hits per innings pitched. Well, so that tells me whether I'm effective or not.
Yeah, and that's what, walks and hits per inning. That and inherited runners. If you're a reliever, boy, that's one of the not only it's not only it's a yardstick, I guess, because it's a huge number.
3-2 and a breaking ball inside.
Yeah, he struck him out on the 2-2 pitch, and Corey Blazer missed it. So again, there's talk about whip. There's your walk.
So Matt Wieters back out. He started behind the plate and came out. The hamstring bothering him a bit.
Yeah, you got to just hope maybe it was a twinge. A little bit more humid here. Warmer today than yesterday. I think tomorrow's supposed to be a little warmer than today.
Here is Seth Smith. 2 singles, a run scored, 2 for 3. Cano up and on 4 times in the game now. Orioles put the shift on, and the pitch will be taken inside. Again at the double play depth with Hardy on the second base side. 1-0 count, 1 down. Mariners after their 53rd win. The Orioles don't come back. They will again go to 2 games above 500. 1-0 delivery, and that one chopped right at the plate and foul. Look over to first. 1-1 delivery on the way, and that's going to miss outside.
Now you look at Seth Smith, and he's got a little bit of power, 9 home runs, but boy, he does spray the ball out over the ballpark. And again, he's got home run power to left field, but 18 hits to left, 25, 30 into the pulled category.
And that one again, same location, same result. So a 3-ball, 1-strike count. The Mariners have played just bad enough to lose games at home compared to on the road. They're 14th in runs at home, 11 in OPS, and 11 in ERA in home games. 3-1 pitch on the way to short, hit hard and right off the shoulder. Hustling, Hardy will get over to cover third base. That one up and off Manny Machado.
Yeah, hit hard, and they give him an error, a bullet ball he usually catches.
Fielder's choice, E5.
Yeah, and again, it just, pretty. We saw how firm in infield yesterday when Marte actually hit a Baltimore chop into left field off his Zach Britton, hitting right-handed.
14th error on Manny on the year. And coming to the plate, Trumbo. Our Alexis Satowson drive of the game.
Yeah, this early on really changed it. Trumbo, a home run hitter, gets a hanging breaking ball, and it's a 3-run home run. 2-1 goes to 4-2 Mariners.
Lexus Satowson, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer, 5 years running. See why, LexusSatowson.com. So Trumbo with runners on at first and second base, 2 for 7. Runners in scoring position for the team tonight. They've had their chances. And get another one here. 1-0 count, 1 down. Brad Brock will look for the ground ball again, get that double play. That pitch will be taken down low, falling behind the hitters here, and the count goes to 2-0.
Well, one of my biggest concerns when Tommy Hunter no longer in your bullpen, Chaz Rowe no longer in your bullpen is, and again, you had 2 tough innings on Sunday in that tie game. The pressure of the innings is going to mount.
Brock's delivery got him to swing at one outside. 2-1.
Well, again, when you're a power guy, and Brad's that type of guy, sometimes you don't throw harder when you try to throw harder. And when you get a little bit tired, the mechanics can easily get out of sync.
2-ball, 1 strike. Leads the Oriole relievers in strikeouts. Would like one here or that ground ball. 2-1 delivery on the way, and a breaking ball swung right over the top of that one. For Brock, he is tied for 4th among relievers in the American League with the 61 strikeouts coming into the ball game. So he's throwing hard out there when he makes these appearances, what Jim was talking about.
Well, he's got really good stuff, and the changeup has just expanded his ability to get hitters out.
2-2 to right field. That could be a problem. No. Carr got over there, makes the catch, and the runners will go back to where they came from. Cano and Smith.
All you got to see is Gerardo Parra play the outfield for 10-12 days, and you realize why he won the Gold Gloves. I mean, he gets the balls quickly, great routes to the balls, and then he's got an arm. And that's only part of it, offensive force.
So that'll bring up Logan Morrison. Morrison is 0 for 3. And a base hit here could really do some damage. Already a 5-2 lead. Shift on infield, fouled off. He tried to wait on that one, and he got Caleb Joseph on the backswing. Home plate umpire's taking one on the mask, Corey Blazer, so he's asking Caleb, you all right?
Well, the Oriole bullpen has been magnificent. That's why Mattis came in and really was terrific. Givens was terrific. This is what you're talking about, Gary. And big long swing right on top of the helmet. And
a 1 delivery on the way. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Will it be a rubber match for this series tomorrow? Will be if the Orioles can't come back. 3 o'clock goes extra, 3:30 for the ball game. 1-1. And a check swing and a pitch down low.
A pretty good take. He laid off the low one. Not a lot of history between Logan Morrison and Brad Brock. Only 3 at bats, over 3.
2 ball, 1 strike count. Brock trying to get out of a tough 7th inning.
Yeah, you would think this would probably be a changeup pitch, and again, that's maybe spot your fastball outside corner. No, there's a changeup, stays up, but he's late on it.
Brad Brock in game number 2 against Seattle this year. Only 2 innings worked with the 1 hit surrendered. 2 ball, 2 strikeout. Buck Showalter, long night because Tillman had a short one. 2 1/3 for the starter. 5 runs and 8 hits. He's had to go to Mattis, Givens, and Brock, who have gotten it done. They have not given up a run in the game. 2-2 pitch on the way, and went up and didn't get it. So Brock will get the strikeout. That'll be his second. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and a couple left on base. Or on to Duhans, Machado, Parra, and Jones. Tonight, they don't have one. And the 79 games with a home run, they've won 50, 32 without, they've won 7.
Okay. Well,
that sums it up.
And we know why, because again, this is a team that, since 2012, won more than they've lost. They usually, at least the last 2 years, have led the league in home runs. That's not going to happen this year, but not a lot of speed as far as stealing bases, manufacturing runs with a home run. Important part.
Williamson starting his 2nd inning of relief work, and will start a strike to Manny Machado. Manny a base hit, 1 for 3. 8-game hit streak now for Manny, who this season has picked up 6 hits and 19 at bats against Seattle pitchers. Breaking ball is going to miss down low for a ball. Tom Williamson, the big right-hander, working to preserve a win for Taijuan Walker, their starter. 2 runs, 5 hits over 6. Back into the screen for a strike, 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's not going to mess around tonight. You think maybe he'd get behind somebody, and that hasn't been the case.
Manny 1 for 5 off the big right-hander.
I mean, he's walked 20 in 38 2/3 innings, so I don't know if those are early or as of late. I mean, there's a good curveball, but just a little bit outside.
Phil Weimel has done a great job for this ball club in the bullpen. Garcia getting ready for the Orioles. Manny Machado checking on the count here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Williamson's delivery to him, and he's gone.
Yeah, perfect pitch, slider. Told you he had 2 breaking balls. Curveball, Manny lays off it, and then he just dots a slider outside corner. And the late break. He's a big guy, so when he gets on top of that slider, really bites. 6'6". Listed at 220 pounds, but appears to be bigger.
Rado will come to the plate. Parra has a double. He is 1 for 3 in the game, 1 for 7. in the series. One down, nobody on. The Orioles on this road trip where they are 4-3 came into this ball game averaging 4.6 runs per game. But the Seattle pitchers, at least so far, have held the Orioles to just 2. 1-0 delivery. Parra will take, and it's outside for a ball. 2-0. Now the American League East certainly getting interesting. It has been all season long. Most everybody thought after the first month and a half, or at least 2 months, nobody was going to run away with the East, and that's the way it's gone. 2-0 delivery. The Yankees now have lost 4 ball games in a row with that extra inning loss tonight. And as we said, Toronto's won 9.
Well, just think about them, though. They're treading water, talking about the Jays. They go out and get a #1 starter, #1 shortstop. They get LaTroy Hawkins in the same deal that Tulowitzki does. Then they get Mark Lowe from here, and then they go get Cliff Pennington.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's some 5 pretty good players.
2-1 delivery on the way, and the pitch taken down low. They're packing them in Toronto. I mean, they're back up there with those crowds of 45, 50,000.
Well, didn't he draw 4 million maybe 3 years in a row, going back to the early 90s?
When that first opened and was known as the Dome, I mean, every game was sold out for about 4 years up there just because of the uniqueness of it. And that will miss. So Williamson surrenders the walk. The Orioles need base runners, and they'll get one right there. Follow the Orioles wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball. At bat up to the moment at any moment. Statcast, radio broadcast, replays, and more. MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. 1 down and 1 on. Only the second walk the Orioles have picked up in the ball game. Adam Jones scored on a fielder's choice in the first. He has struck out and grounded out since. Showed bunt. If he's bunting, he's bunting for a base hit, and he had Seager back at third.
Well, that'll bring him in, and the bonus is that it was a ball. I mean, Wilhelmsen last year, he led him in innings and ERA, and he was a minor league contract. So talk about being able to build your bullpen, even though the guy had a great year for you.
1-0 count. And fouled off outside of third. Orioles trying to get the potential tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning. They were shut down in the middle innings. 11 in a row retired by Walker from the 3rd out of the 2nd inning until a base hit by Chris Davis in the 6th. And now they have not had a hit since then. They do get the walk here. Long hold. 1-1 delivery on the way, comes inside.
Yeah, Wilhelmsen just hoping that Adam will chase another breaking ball out of the zone. I mean, until you get to 2 strikes against a hard thrower, you got to hit off the fastball and make sure the breaking ball's up or take it.
Here's the 2-1 delivery to him, and he got that one way back left field, way back at the wall, and goodbye, home run. And the Orioles are right back in this ball game. Adam Jones delivers a 2 RBI homer. That'll be number 19. RBIs 55 and 56, and it is 5-4.
Well, that's what happens when you lay off the breaking balls, and he did it on the 1-1 changeup. And then he did look fastball and get it and pulverized it off the bat. Orioles get quick 2 runs, and here comes Lloyd McClendon. So the walk to Parra sets up the home runs. You get within 1. Again, 2-1. You got a 3-run lead. Well, there's your fastball, middle of the plate. Adam looking for it, doesn't miss it.
Had a home run last night. He gets one tonight. Emery Volkman, our Maryland lottery contestant, worth $500 to the pen. Go the M's.
Receptive release, again, one of those long armors. And they're going to break a ball change up to go with it. So very good numbers. He signed as a minor league free agent April 2nd. Another guy that had a very good year for them last year and then somehow ended up as a late sign. Last year 3-1, 2.20 ERA, and was in 56 games for the Mariners. Again, part of the best bullpen in baseball 2014.
Veteran who is 39 years old. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Dodgers, Washington, Colorado, Seattle, and Seattle. Chris Davis. Davis will take the pitch up and in. So by Milan as Williamson, an inning and a third, 2 runs and only 1 hit, but he gave up a walk. And Parra scored ahead of Jones. Adam getting that home run. Beimel with the 1-0 pitch. Chris Davis in the air to right field. Did he get enough to tie it up? Way back, and goodbye, home run. The Orioles have tied it. A 3-run 8th inning, and the Orioles come from 3 runs down to make it a 5-5 game on back-to-back homers by Adam Jones and Chris Davis.
Well, this happened in Anaheim on Sunday. The Orioles would lose in 11 innings, but what happened was Corey Rasmus comes in 4-2, and again Jones hits a home run, as does Parra, and out comes Lloyd McClendon. So you bring in the lefty. Of course, Beimel had given up 4 home runs, 2 to lefties, 2 to righties. And what did you say earlier? Chris Davis, maybe not for home runs, but average-wise, hits lefties better than righties, and he gets a pitch to hit. And again, I mean, he can almost like he can hit it with one hand. You can see balls away, bat head gets out, and then again the big fly, uppercut swing, fly ball. That's all you need.
Well, we showed you how the Orioles rely on the home runs. They didn't have them until the 8th. They've got them now.
But the breaking ball is a devastating slider. So he's become the closer. He will come work here in the 8th inning in a tie game. Of course, you have Fernando Rodney behind him and a number of other ones. So you can look at the numbers. Righties, that slider might have something to do with that 156 batting average, and then a ground ball pitcher. Only a couple of home runs. So Chris Davis, mustache and all, ties it up. Home run number 31.
So Chris and Adam using the long ball, back-to-back home runs. 3rd time the Orioles have done that this season. Ground ball first base side, that's fair, and the tag put on for the out.
Yeah, Carson Smith, great play. I mean, funky delivery, but does he get over there quickly? Yes, and he's able to get it before it goes foul. One of those balls that starts foul. That's why Caleb Joseph. So again, there's the line, and there's the tag. And you can see Corey Blazer, because the play's in front of him. He is the umpire that makes that call. So 1 pitch, 1 out.
Bullpen surrendering home runs. They are 10th in the league in home runs surrendered as a bullpen. And here's Jonathan Scope. 2 RBI base hit first inning. His fly out grounded out. The Orioles had not scored since the first inning when they got 2 runs. They get 3 runs here. 2 home runs and a walk are how they got him.
And again, Smith, the big guy, he's 6'6". Mahomes was the same at 6'6", but again, the slider, funky, drops the arm a little bit. And there's the slider.
He got him, and that'll do it. So Smith comes on and gets a strikeout with the Orioles. They get it done. They will pick up 3 runs on 2 hits. Adam Jones delivering a 2-run homer. Davis, the next batter up against Beimel, the new pitcher, makes it a 5-5 game. RBIs. The 6th home run he has hit in this ballpark, and he had one yesterday. And Chris Davis, his 31st home run, and for Davis here in this ballpark, his 7th homer, and ties the ball game up 5-5. Chris involved in back-to-back home runs with Manny Machado against Minnesota, with Steve Pearce against Houston, and now back-to-back with Jones here against Seattle.
So we got ourselves a tie game with Brad Brock, 2nd inning.
Starters indeed in this one, and the Mariners have seen this happen before with this bullpen. Here is Miller, double single, and he is grounded out. 1-0 delivery to him, and the pitch outside for a ball. Zunino and then Jackson top of the order.
Yeah. There's TJ, and again a couple of innings on Sunday. So this bullpen, because of the starters, well, not the Chen pitched great last night.
Pitch will miss inside. Brad Brock goes 3-0. He has walked 1, struck out 2.
Yeah, if you want to take the wind out of the sail, walk the leadoff guy after you've just scored 3 to tie it up. And again, a lot of innings lately.
3-0 pitch on the way, and he does. Not close.
Yep. Down, it catches up with you. You know, when you got to pitch in these high stretch situations, again, a power guy, I mean, he's not a finesse pitcher. So throwing strikes, I think you got to work at it, and you have to know where your release point is. Well, we've already seen Zunino sacrifice. You would think that would be the case again.
They're looking for 1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning to get the lead back. 2 strikeouts on the sacrifice. Manny Machado is almost in the box with him. Does square, drops it, tried to, bad bunt, good out for the Orioles. Runner does not get advanced, and the Orioles get the out.
Well, he's got 7 bunts, and of course, when when your average is below 200, these are the little things. But he is a catcher. He is a #1 draft choice. I can't imagine he bunted much coming out of the University of Florida. So again, he just drops the bat head. I mean, it's just horrible mechanics, and the Orioles certainly take advantage of it.
So 1 down. Top of the order, Jackson has a base hit, 2 strikeouts, and a ground ball out. Jackson has had only 1 hit, 8 at bats in the 2 games. Brad Brock will make the throw over to first. Bottom of the 8th, game tied at 5. Orioles 5-7-1. Seattle 5-10-0. The error did not cost an unearned run in this game. Jones and Davis, the home runs, put them right back in it in a 3-run, 2-hit 8th inning.
Yeah, and you want to pay attention because Brad Miller's got 11 steals, and he's only been caught once.
Trying to get a lead, but a couple of very hard throws by Brad Brock over to get him back. Runner not going. Pitch will be in there for a strike. Against Brock, base stealers are 5 out of 6 when he's on the mound.
Well, he's tall. And again, a guy that, he's a relief pitcher, so just make him stop. Hold the ball.
1-0 delivery, runner not going. Breaking ball is going to be outside.
You can talk about slide stepping. That's where you slide your front foot. It allows you to get the ball to home plate. But in this situation, even though you have speed at first, stop him. Make your pitch, even if it takes a second, because an extra base hit's probably going to score Miller with his speed.
1 ball, 1 strike, runner goes. Throw, Joseph. Boy, what a throw! He got him! He got him, and he had to throw over the hitter Jackson, who leaned over the plate, trying to get in the way but not interfere, and a fine play made by Jonathan Schoop to get the ball.
Yeah, well, the question is, and again, he ducks down, so it probably wouldn't have been interference. But again, Schoop goes out and makes a nice effort of getting the ball because it's offline, and then the tag. And it gets him right on the left thigh before he can get the arm in. So quick release. And again, your time of catching it and throwing it had to probably be about 1.8 or 1.9.
30% effective getting base stealers. Caleb Joseph. That's a tremendous play. Takes great focus for him to throw it, and for Jonathan Schoop, knowing the runner's coming right into him, to stay tuned to the ball and make the tag. A big play here in the 8th inning. So 2 down, 2 ball, 2 strike count now on Jackson. He'll lift it foul.
Yeah, I was looking on Baseball Reference and trying to look at Jonathan Schoop, and I played with Davey Johnson, won 4 Gold Gloves. Bobby Grich, 4 in Baltimore, with 3 with the Angels. Richie Dower out of SC, and they say he's average. I look at him and I think here's a guy that can turn the double play. He's got tremendous ability to catch the ball and drop the tag. Does so many things to help you win.
He's got as good an arm as Cano. To say he's average, see, that's where the numbers.
Well, they're talking about range and all the other factors.
But that's not true.
I know.
If you watch him play every day, he's
fabulous.
He's above average.
Yeah, he is. He just does the little things, and there was one of them.
3-2 delivery on the way. That'll go to short. Speaking of getting it done, Hardy.
Get up. Yep.
Bounce that one. J.J. Hardy's had a tough time here in these 2 games. That throw not even close. And the runner did not turn to second base, so Jackson is on. Yeah,
again, talking about infields, he said Oakland had the best one. And again, just a little flat-footed maybe. The ball gets down. It's a ball that a lot of times Chris Davis can catch. And the only good news is it doesn't go into the dugout, and Jackson would have gotten to go to second.
Bad news is Mike Showalter is going to come out and make a pitching change. Bad news in the sense the Orioles are going to have to go to yet another. So Brock is out of there. T.J. McFarland will come on. Seager, the number 2 hitter, will be coming to the plate with a runner on and 2 down.
lot of innings. A couple of them the other day in that ball game on Sunday. 2 1/3 innings. A couple of hits, no walks. Again, guy that Buck Showalter loves. More hits than innings pitched. Ground ball pitcher. And again, the numbers are very high by right-handers. And when he got called up the other day, they were over 500. So they're coming down. Not a lot of at bats. You bring him in. You hope he stays down in the zone. Even though Seager, the left-handed hitter, hits lefties better. You're just hoping you can match up and that TJ will do what he's capable of do is keep the ball in the ballpark on the ground.
Seager 1 for 4 against McFarland, but 305 off lefties and 247 off righties. So the shift is on against him. The Orioles got 3 in the top half of this 8th inning to tie the ball game up. Now with the error allowing Jackson to reach, Seattle's going to try and get this lead back with an unearned run. Seager, an RBI sac fly in the game. Pitch to him will be outside for a ball. He is popped out, struck out, and grounded out.
So perfect this year. We talked about again one of the yardsticks that you look at with relief pitchers coming in the clutch situations.
1-0 count.
Jackson with 13 steals, been caught 9 times. Ooh.
Over the head. Now this is where we talked about this earlier. You don't have Cruz on deck because they took him out for a defensive replacement. So with Cruz gone, Seager, the chance of seeing better pitches is gone.
Well, I just hope TJ McFarland knows that. I mean, really, because you get, he ought to know that Seager hits lefties better than righties.
2-0 deliveries outside, and it's 3-0.
I mean, it's almost one of those situations, and we saw Marte hit an infield hit that caromed him into left, but who do you want to pitch to? And I certainly know that answer. And it's not like you're loading him up on Sunday. You have a open base to work with. Now you got 2.
You do put a runner in scoring position, of course, but are you willing to take that risk? And that's just how you feel. 3-0 count, lob toss over. Davis wasn't even on the bag. We said in the why would you take, and now maybe there's something wrong, but if Cruz came up for just defensive purposes, why would you do that in the 7th inning of a ball game when you're up by 3 and your bullpen's a disaster? That just doesn't make any sense. 3-0 count. Pitch on the way, and it will be outside. He walked in.
Yeah, and it's not like you're taking a gazelle out there. I mean, Seth Smith, good hitter, not a great outfielder. Don't really have a lot of choices. I mean, you could have put Gutierrez, but Gutierrez is coming off in a year where he didn't play. Obviously, a much better defender, coming off a great night with the bat last night.
And there may be something wrong with Nelson who had to come out. We don't know that, but he's out. And we will get a pinch hitter.
Now you'll get Gutierrez. Yeah.
Will hit for Marte in the number 3 spot. Cruz hit a home run in the first inning, his 34th of the year. He had a 1 for 3 while he was in there. Marte had 1 at bat and struck out, and now Gutierrez comes up.
And again, because the bullpen is short and Tillman pitched starting the game didn't go as long, you don't have a lot of options in your bullpen. You have Darren O'Day down there, Rule 5 guy Jason Garcia. So Gutierrez again, home run early off of Chin, one of the great at bats of the season off of Zach Britton, hit a double. We'll see how McFarland does against him tonight.
Gutierrez up, runners on at first and second base. Ball game maybe on the line right here. Base hit can get a go-ahead run with 2 outs. Delivery to Gutierrez, and the pitch is in there for a strike. He does not have any at-bats against McFarland. Well, as was true last night, ball game that all of a sudden changes complexion. Last night it was Seattle getting back into the ball game, the final inning. Here in this one, it's the Orioles getting back in the 8th, and now Seattle threatening in the 8th. 0-1 pitch on the way, and that's a bouncer. Good play by Joseph to stop it.
Yep. Well, you got Cano on deck, and just because you're lefty, that's not a matchup. Just what you were talking about. I mean, he bounces one and he catches it on the skip.
Gutierrez hitting .340 off lefties, .250 off righties. Potential go-ahead run at second base. Good speed. Austin Jackson. Seager on at first. McFarland with a 1-1 delivery and a ground ball toward short. J.J. Hardy is there, flips and gets the force out at second base. So McFarland works out of it. No runs, no hits, an error, and 2 are left on base. We go to the 9th inning in a 5-5 game. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer with you on a beautiful night here in Seattle. Ball game tied. And the reason we always put a caveat on things like the Cruz, we understand he came out of the ball game because he had back spasms. So there was a problem, and that's why he came out of the ball game.
Yeah, it might have been that dive in the first inning. On the ball to Parra hit. So Gutierrez does come in. Miller moves back from left to short where he started.
Lloyd McClendon having to do a lot of managing here with player movement tonight. So we go to the 9th inning. Jimmy Paredes. Paredes 0 for 3. The Orioles DH. And they guard the lines on him both ways. Logan Morrison on the line at third. Seager on the line. Seager at third, rather. Morrison at first.
Well, let's see if Jimmy Paredes 2-0. None of them close. Maybe you can get a pitch to hit here. Carson Smith out of Midland, Texas, went to Grayson College for a short time.
Comes inside to him.
Yeah, they told him you got to change that delivery. Got to throw more overhand. And he goes. Pretty soon later, you got to go somewhere else. And as it turned out, I think he went to Texas State, and next thing you know, he was drafted in the 8th round. Well, that was quick.
He walks him, boy. That's just what the Orioles need. So the Orioles get a leadoff walk, just the 3rd walk they have picked up in the ball game, and a leadoff man on here in the 9th inning. And now Hardy to be followed by Reimold.
Well, we've seen J.J. bunt, and usually successful. I mean, the form is good, the mechanics. You know, when you bunt, you got to use your legs like you're going up and down in an elevator, so the bat angle stays the same.
One sacrifice bunt on the year for J.J. Seager moving in, now back at third base. Pitch bunted. Play is going to be at first, and they'll get the out, and a sacrifice, second of the year for Hardy. And one away. But Paredes is down at second base with good speed with a potential go-ahead run here in the 9th inning. So let's see if Nolan Reimold can bring him home. Nolan's had an 0 for 3 in the ball game with a ground ball, fly ball, and a strikeout. Reimold here in the month, 2 hits in 13 at bats. As Jim said, not a lot of chances and sporadic at best when he gets in, so it's tough. Trying to find a rhythm. Delivery on the way and a breaking ball off the plate.
Yeah, Rick Wade was talking about the fact is, and he was a minor league coordinator, now the major league pitcher. He said Smith in the minors, that slider was so good, he never used his fastball, so he would limit the amount of sliders he would throw.
That's a strike in the outside corner, even though dropped in a 1-ball 1-strike count.
I don't see that too often. Umpire puts his right arm up and the catcher doesn't catch it.
It's a pretty good pitch, a lot of movement.
Well, that's the slider. And then again, if you get on top of it, it doesn't stay in the same place. And there's the fastball, but it misses. So again, he's funky. He's tall, 6'6". He goes left, and I would imagine, of course, if you're Nolan Reimold, you're trying to find that little window where the ball is released.
Smith with a 2-ball 1-strike count. Paredes being held close by Cano. And he chased one way outside, and there's another one that had a break on it.
Yeah, well, that's the slider. And when I was talking to people today, I said, I talked to Mike Blowers, who does the TV, and he said, just incredible slider. And there it was. I mean, it starts somewhere around the corner, but again, you got to pick the ball up about 10, 12 feet out, and if you don't see that spin, and it is tight, you get pretty embarrassed.
And again, thought about it, but he stayed away. He did not go around, says Jeff Nelson down at first base.
Well, this is what Jeff Nelson looked to me that he swung. Certainly in kind of no man's lands in a sense.
Aaron O'Day is up. Boy, the Oriole bullpen being taxed. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Cano really holding Paredes. And he got him on the slider. Down and away.
Yeah, toughest pitch. Well, he was coming up the minor leagues. You get the AA, AAA. What's the difference? They start throwing that pitch. I used to always talk about in Little League, Mom, I think I'll take up soccer because they're throwing curveballs. In the minor leagues, the difference. The guys with the power sliders, the deception. And Carson Smith's got one.
Orioles still have it out to try and get that run in. And Manny Machado with a 1-for-4, a base hit back in the second inning. Manny has a 7-game hit streak going. 6 for 20 against Seattle this year, and an RBI opportunity. A big at bat for the Orioles here in the top of the 9th inning, game tied at 5.
And the outfield very shallow.
And the pitch is in there for a strike. Cano and Paredes doing a dance.
Yeah, compared to the way they usually play here. Yeah, they usually play a lot deeper, so any ball up the gap is going to be tough to get to if you hit it well.
Cano trying to hold Paredes as close as he can, jumping back on the pitch, and he got him to go after that slider that was way outside. So Manny down on the count, 0-2. Beimel worked no part of an inning, gave up a run on a hit. Wilhelmsen, an inning and a third, 2 runs, 1 hit, a walk, and a strikeout. And the starter, Walker, 2 runs, 5 hits over 6. Way outside, nice stop in the backhand. Zunino going out to get it. So both starters non-decision. Chris Tillman only went 2 1/3, 5 runs, 8 hits. But the bullpen, Mattis, Givens, Brock, McFarland, have held Seattle to nothing in the run department since Tillman came out in the third. 1-2 delivery and got him on an 86. So he comes out and gets the strikeout. Picking up the K will take us to the bottom of the 9th inning. Cano will lead it off. McFarland will stay on for the shortened Orioles bullpen and hope he can get through Cano, Smith, and Trumbo.
Yeah, you only have 2 more in the bullpen, Darren O'Day and then the Rule 5 Jason Garcia.
Robinson Cano's been up 4 times and on 4 times, 3 singles and a walk. Scored a run back in the first inning. Trumbo with a 3-run homer in the first. Cruz with a solo shot. Then the RBI sac fly by Seager in the second, accounting for all 5 of Seattle's runs. The Orioles had the 2 RBI single, bases loaded single by Scope in the first. They did not score again till the home runs by Jones and Davis, accounting for 3 in the 8th. And that brings us to a 5-5 bottom of the 9th inning. Cano is 5 for 8 off McFarland.
Wow.
No home runs.
He might have been the first year Rule 5 guy. Didn't know what he was doing. Or maybe not.
It's Cano.
Yes, it is.
And the pitch to him is taken for a strike.
Normally, you're right. It doesn't usually make a difference this year. Again, the batting average, at least coming in, because he hits the first 3 times and walks. So he's having a perfect night, but only .233 against the lefties with 3 of his 12 home runs. Yeah, all you got to do is make a mistake, though. I mean, he's that type of hitter.
0-1 delivery to him. Cano will take it inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count. We had a 1-run ball game last night, 3-2. The Orioles winning it. 15-18 for the Orioles in 1-run games. Seattle dropped to 22-20 in 1-run games. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Cano will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Good pitch, 1-2.
And there was the former closer, 48 of them last year. Yeah, 65 of their 113 games. Decided by 2 runs or fewer. A lot of close games for the Mariners.
Defense straight up on Cano. You'll go after the pitch, center field. Jones over. He's got it. Big first out, bottom of the 9th. So Cano finally retired. McFarland gets him. And that will bring Smith.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe Montero's going to come up and hit.
So Jesus Montero.
Yeah, again, Logan Morrison, who's playing first, can play the outfield. Montero can play first. So like McClendon say, maybe let's try to win it here in the 9th. Big strong hitter. Struck out off of Zach Britton for the final out of last night's game.
Montero had an 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in the ball game last night that ended his 3-game hit streak. Montero up, bases empty here in the 9th inning. He's 0 for 1 against McFarland. Power bat, so he's looking for the long ball. McFarland's delivery to him will be chopped to first. Davis will go to the bag himself. 1 pitch, 2 outs.
Yeah, nice little pitch. TJ, we talked about, again, the righties, they were hitting over 500. Went to the minors when he went to Norfolk, trying to, work on both sides of the plate. Throw so many sinkers away. They look. Of course, that time he did throw a good sinking fastball, and he got a 1-pitch ground out.
Dangerous hitter always, but especially in these situations where he swings for the downs. Mark Trumbo with power. Well, big 3-run homer in the first inning.
You'll look on deck, Gary, and this is one of those situations where you cannot let Trumbo beat you.
2 down, pitch outside for a ball. Since the home run in the first, he has grounded out, walked, and flied out.
It's one of those non-give-in situations. And if you're Caleb, sit on the corner, and I mean on the corner.
1-0 delivery to him. He has had all 5 of his home runs that he's hit with Seattle come in this ballpark. Getting his 5th here tonight. 253 at home, 222 on the road with Seattle. 2-0 count, 2 down. Quiet house here in Seattle. Trumbo will foul it off, and the count will go to 2-1.
Now you can see anxious right there. Swings at ball 3. TJ probably thinking, okay, I'll make my pitches. If he wants to get back in the count by swinging at balls, I'll let him, and maybe I can get him out. Don't have to pitch around him.
2-1. Jones moves to right field a bit, and the pitch will be taken outside. So the count goes to 3-1 on Trumbo, with Morrison waiting on deck. Bullpens and benches being exhausted in this ball game through 9 innings, with some injuries occurring. Back spasm took Cruz out of the ball game. Hammy tweak. Wieters out, fouled off.
Yeah, Chris Woodward, first base coach for the Mariners, ducking.
Chris so happy to be in Seattle. Spent most of his career in the East playing ball. Said, I cannot believe how much humidity I went through as a player and never even realized it till I got here to Seattle. 3-2. Delivery to Trumbo. To short. J.J. Hardy's there, and that will do it in the inning. A 1-2-3 ninth. We'll go to the 10th. Free baseball for everybody. Come on, open your eyes. 5-5. Nelson Cruz in the first inning is 34th, leading the American League. Adam Jones could not get that one. Later in the inning with 2 on board, Trumbo would get his 14th overall, 5th since joining Seattle. The Orioles would be shut down by Taijuan Walker until get to the 8th inning. 2-run homer. Adam Jones. Parra was on ahead of him with a free pass. Next batter, Davis, up against the new pitcher, Beimel. See you later. 5-5 game. And we go to the 10th inning.
Yeah, we'll get the former closer. Last year, 48 of them. This year, 16 saves, 6 blown saves, most in the American League. So a lot of fastballs, a lot of changeups. We'll see what his velocity is. I mean, it's usually in the mid-90s, maybe even a little bit higher. Can he walk people? Yes, he can. We're certainly looking for that. 47 and a third innings, 23 walks. Again, batting average is higher than normal, and home runs higher than normal.
More defensive changes. Morrison will go to right field, and Montero, who came not to pinch hit, will play at first where Morrison had been. So the 10th inning, the Orioles extra inning ball games haven't played many. 3-3, just the opposite for Seattle. This is their 18th extra inning game. They are 8-9. Fernando Rodney will work to the power of the order. Berra leads it off. Ground ball second base. Cano is there, makes the play. Pitch in and out here in the 10th.
Yeah, hit it hard, but right at Robinson Cano.
You see the extra inning numbers. Buck Showalter with a 54% win percentage in extra inning games.
Well, his second year here was But the Orioles won 16 consecutive extra inning games, one of the great runs of all time. 17 inning games, an 18 inning game right here, where it seemed like every inning from the ninth on they had the leadoff runner on, either first or second.
That one took us to breakfast. And the pitch is in there for a strike from Rodney. Here is Adam Jones. Jones, the home run in the 8th inning, is 19th. He has scored twice. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning. Against Rodney, he is 4 for 14. Another liner. This one's going to be picked up in the air. Miller gets it. 2 down.
Yeah, that one may be a little bit inside. So
you got David Lowe. You got Ryan Flaherty over there on the bench for the Orioles, and Junior Lake.
Yeah.
Available to come off the bench to hit.
And then down to 2 pitchers, unless you send one of your starters out there.
Two down, nobody on. Chris Davis. Rodney will make him dance a little bit on the pitch inside. Well, Davis with a 1 for 10 off Rodney.
So now home runs, what, 12 in the last 20 games. Cruz had 13 now in 21 games. That's how hot these two guys have been.
Davis takes a pitch on the inside corner for a strike.
Yeah, the back of your mind, because his changeup is good as anybody's. There's Darren O'Day and Dom Chidi on the right, Oriole bullpen coach.
One ball, one strike delivery to him. Took something off that one, boy. That's a great changeup.
Well, not only is it, 14 miles per hour slower, you give up on it because it's like a 2-seam fastball. It starts at your kneecaps and just moves like a screwball.
So a 1 ball, 2 strike count from Rodney. 2 down, nobody on, top of the 10th. Davis, towering fly ball in the yard. Gutierrez, he's got it, and Rodney comes on and retires the side in order. It'll be 7-8-9 due up for Seattle, bottom of the 10th inning. Third innings in his start. Mattis, Givens, Brock, and McFarland. They've shut him down.
Well, yeah, Brian came in and we said, he summoned his inner Clayton Kershaw. That's how good he was. Givens, he comes back this week. Young pitcher. Brock's Brock. And again, McFarland, they wanted him back on here to do exactly what he did. He pitched a little bit over 2 innings on Sunday. Again, he kind of finesse lefty because he's down throwing 91 to 93. But he can get some outs, and he can with 2 pitchers and one a veteran out there, O'Day, and then your Rule 5 guy. You want him to go as long as he can.
He has worked 3 innings for a high this year. That was back in May against the Yankees. Logan Morrison, he goes after the first pitch, fouls it off. He's 0 for 4. A couple of strikeouts in the ball game. McFarland continues on, and effectively so, for the Orioles.
And because of his minor league experience as a starter, he can pitch even if he gets a little bit tired, because that's what you have to do.
0-1 slice the other way. They were playing him around. That'll be a fair ball. Roll up against the seats. Reimold over to get it. And to the cutoff man, it's a leadoff double from Morrison.
Yeah, you get the matchup you want, and then you get unlucky. A grenade down the left field line. It's one of those balls off the bat. If you're on the mound, you know it is not going foul, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, he just slices it late on it.
Well, here go the Mariners again, and here comes Buck Showalter. He's only got O'Day really that he wants to use, and has had him up a couple of times just to stay warm. So if the Orioles got a run, he could come in to be a closer. This is going to be a defensive meeting.
I mean, to go through these situations, but Buck just making sure here in August everybody's going to be on the same page. So Miller will come to the plate. I mean, 205 hitter, all his home runs against right-handers.
That'll be hit number 11. 5-11-0 for Seattle. 5-7-2 for the Orioles. Now they're looking for a bunt. They'll try and get a play at third if they can. Davis will be charging, but he didn't bunt. And a base hit into left field. Runner will stay at third. So the Butcher Boys swing and a base hit by Miller. His third hit of the ball game. Runners at first and third, nobody out.
Well, you could see what they've done here in Seattle to help the hitting. I mean, because this is pretty routine, except look at the chop. Same as Marte did last night. I mean, just goes right over Manny's head. So again, a very, very hard and fast infield, and they take advantage of it.
Well, here's a situation for you.
Well, the infield's going to come in.
You got Zunino, who is 0 for his last 26.
And he's a strikeout guy, but again, because of the situation with Jackson on deck,
you just let him hit.
Well, of course, yeah, he's trying to hit a fly ball.
Anything.
And then, of course, what is T.J. McFarland doing? They're going to go, got to kind of pitch to extremes, hope you get ahead, and then you go for the strikeout. Otherwise,
infield in, nobody out. Pitch on the way. Zunino takes it inside. Sacrifice Zunino had in the 6th inning. He has struck out twice and popped out. 1-0 count. Potential winning run is Logan Morrison down at third base, who had the leadoff double. 1-0 pitch on the way, and that will miss inside. 2-0.
Now you go a whole year at Camden Yards and maybe see one ball that's a Baltimore chop. We've seen 2 in the last 2 nights. Very, very fast infield.
2-0 count. Outfield, of course, drawn in. Fly ball deep ends the game anyway. 2-0 pitch on the way. He will foul it off. McFarland coming in on him. 2-1.
Yeah, swung at a ball, and of course, where you play is where you can catch the ball in the outfield and still throw the runner out. Fly ball of any depth, obviously, it's probably going to go over your head. Line drive. You can see how short. Now Parra really throws well. We saw Jones make a great throw in Anaheim, and Reimold average, slightly above average arm and left.
2-1 count. McFarland's delivery. 3-1. Top of the order, Jackson. Austin Jackson is on deck. 3 ball, 1 strike count. Morrison very careful at third with Machado fairly close. Well, not a big lead. 3-1 delivery on the way. Zunino fouls it off.
Yeah, nice little breaking ball in a fastball count, and he's out in front.
So the count goes to 3-2. Zunino would love to end, obviously, that streak here with a game-winning RBI.
Well, now you get where you can strike them out.
Yeah.
And you do have a base open. Obviously, you don't want to walk the bases loaded. But you just, figure, okay, where can we go? See, hard breaking ball down and in. If you don't strike him out, maybe you get a grounder to third.
3-2 delivery, and he walked him, and they're loaded.
Not even close.
So they are loaded. Nobody out, but the only run that matters is that one down at third base. The Orioles will try and get that ground ball double plate and first off Jackson, who obviously will be tough to do that against. He's got good speed, but it's the out at home. The Orioles have to get first and foremost. Jackson, single, reached on an error, 2 strikeouts and a ground ball out. Sacks full, nobody out. Down the line, ball game over. Jackson delivers a slicing single, and Seattle in extra innings will come away with the win. Coming on to score, Morrison, who had the leadoff double in the ball game. They will end up with a run on 3 hits, no errors, and a couple of men, 3 men left on base. Took extra innings to do it, but they get it. And the Orioles, who won the 1-run game last night, lose this one. 6-5 the final, setting up